What is going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. How are all you beautiful people? It is so awesome to see you guys after a week away. You know, we have gone months without taking a break from this show. So having a week away was for a very good reason. You guys know I went to the Xbox Fan Fest. We got a whole lot to talk about in relation to that. But just shout out to everybody here, everybody in chat. Retweet the link. Let everybody know the Shop Podcast is live. We do this every single Saturday. We setting records every single week. So let's keep that going. Let everybody know it's live. It's the best show on the weekends, man, to get caught up and get that good game and fix, man. But I don't want to talk too long. You guys know who I am. The PTK Blam, the host here at the Shop Podcast. But let's get to these awesome guests that take their time to hang with us every single Saturday, man. I got two awesome ones, two returning guests, two of my favorite gamers coming here on the show. But we'll start with you, Umber. What's up, bro? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm good, PTK, man. I'm just it's so funny. I actually dozed off for a quick second. Snap. You know how you never wake up late for work or something like that? You snap up like, oh,
yeah,
what day is it?
Yeah,
man,
I hate that.
That was me. I got up a second ago and I was like, oh, what time is it? Oh, let me get on in here and do this.
old man syndrome, man.
Yeah, that's what it is. Because I was in this chair knocked out like old man. No, man, it's been a good week. It's been a very interesting week. I had some excellent guests on my podcast recently. It's going crazy outside. Y'all can probably hear an ambulance or something now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But I guess I'll chop it up to that and leave it at there so you all won't have to hear this noise disturbance.
It's all good, man. Shout out to Umber, man. All this information is down in the description below. Go check him out, man. Go follow him on Twitter, the easiest way to keep up with most of us here on the panel and here at the Shop Podcast, man. But let's throw this over to you, Retri Game Pass Daily, another returning awesome guest here, man. Glad to have you. It wasn't too long you was on here. It was a few weeks ago, but glad to have you back, brother. Always fun, man. How you been? How's your week been?
I've been good, man. I was sick right around the showcase, so I wasn't feeling too good. The showcase feels like it was like 2-3 weeks ago for me. I don't know why. This week has just been so crazy and busy that I actually asked you, I'm like, what are we talking about? And you're like, oh, the showcase. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That was a week ago. Like, it's just weird to me. I don't know. I'm in this weird time loop, like with Umber. I don't know what day it is right now because I also have old man syndrome. But I'm happy to be here, man. Like, what a great podcast crew we got going on today. So this is gonna be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, let's get into it. We got a whole lot to talk about, man. We're gonna be all over the place. You guys already know where we're starting, but let's get to our right hand man here, man. Pong sliding into third base. I saw you, brother. Appreciate you coming through, man. How you been, brother?
Hey, that's that Diablo effect. You know what I'm saying? So
I was right there with you, Pong. Just got off of it too.
Yeah, I was playing with Steel, and I actually did get off, but I didn't quite get off early enough. And then I was like rushing. I'm like, oh shit! All right, I'm coming in. I'm coming home. Let's go. Yeah, no, man, it's absolutely fantastic. What a week! What a gamers Christmas week. We have got so much to talk about. Best time of the year, and shout out to you, PTK, and for getting down there and having the time of your life and getting to experience in that firsthand. So jealous of everybody that was down there, and you sending me pictures of Todd, hanging out with Todd.
That was for you,
really,
man. That was for you. I told you.
I know you got the blessings of God. It's unbelievable, man. What a time to be down there. What a year to be down there with everything that they got going on and how they showed it off and how they capped it off with that. Just again, I'll agree with everybody who said it already. Elsewhere, the greatest showcase, the greatest direct, the greatest deep dive of any one singular game ever. I think that's what we witnessed with Starfield. Unbelievable what that did to this community. The whole showcase did it. But Starfield alone, again, we've talked about it so long here, PTK. We've been talking about this game for years and what it was going to mean to Xbox, to the community, to gamers, and what it was when Bethesda walks in and drops a nuke. And that's exactly what happened with Starfield. It's sparked so much conversation now. mass media, everything. So we'll get into it, but man, we got a lot to talk about. But the showcase overall, 10 out of 10 for me. Starfield as a deep dive, 11 out of 10 for me. They did it. They did exactly what they had to do, but we had other showcases that didn't hit necessarily, but a lot of good games still that we got to see. So other than that, let's get down to business. Get two great guests being here tonight, Retri and Umbra. Great to have you both back again. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. So let's do it. I know you are, Umbra. Anytime you get to talk, you're all about it. Come on.
I really thought we were going to get through this intro without that. I was like, we're going to make it through.
I tried to do almost everything.
Ego won't let it happen, man. No, Ego won't let it happen, man. You cannot. No way. Shout out to you, man. That's how we welcome the guests here at the Shop Podcast.
Absolutely.
So if your favorite YouTuber, send them over here. That's the kind of welcome we're giving. No, but shout out to you guys. Shout out to chat. Shout out to Pong. Everybody live, man. Let's not forget, man, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere. I saw you on cam on Friday. You can't fool me. I knew who that was up in the corner. Fuzz on the cam. But shout out to you, bro, man. It's been a big week for a lot of us, man. Xbox Showcase, obviously, we're getting into that. But how you been, man?
Oh, I've been pretty good. As far as getting on cam, I bought this whole setup, got my desk all in, and measured everything twice, and unfortunately the computer case didn't fit the way I expected, so had to perform surgery on the desk. Got a jigsaw, cut out like a little part of it, put the computer stand or the computer on like a cart or a wheel stand type of thing, and got everything to work. But man, that was busy, and then Diablo eating up most of my game time. Still trying to squeeze in some Forza Horizon 5 and still trying to squeeze in some Division stuff because new seasons. And man, we need to do a petition for like a 26-hour day or something like that so we can have more time to game. But man, glad to be here. Some awesome guests tonight. Yeah, that Xbox Showcase definitely set off the E3 season or the non-E3 season. So we got a lot to talk about. So let's do this.
Man, let's get into it. Shout out to all the beautiful people in the chat. Hello, like I said, I miss you guys so much. A week away. We'd gone hella weeks without missing a show. I mean, we're talking about maybe a year plus without missing a single week. So shout out to everybody hanging out with us today. If you guys remember, we're here. So retweet that link, man. Shout out to all you guys. But let's dive into today's content, man. We got a lot to talk about. That showcase was amazing. So we're gonna actually roll the poll into the first topic because it makes sense. It's all relative, so we'll kind of ask both at the same time. So we talking about the showcase, obviously, if you didn't know right out the gate. So I want to get to my guests here. I'm gonna ask two questions here. I'm gonna start with you, Retri, okay? Mm-hmm. And I know you said it's felt like it's been 2 weeks since the showcase. We've talked so much about it. There's been 36 shows a day since the showcase, right? A bunch of podcasts, reactions, things like that. But I want to get your breakdown on just your reaction right after the showcase, that first reaction. Then I want to get is this the best Xbox show ever? Okay, your answer on that. So we'll answer both. We'll go that route.
All right. Yeah. So initial impressions right after the showcase, I was definitely blown away. What I said on some other podcasts and on our own, what kind of struck me personally was how good the showcase was with what I knew wasn't there. You know what I mean? I know everyone talks about like, judge a showcase on what's there, not what's not there. I can't do that. I'm incapable of doing that. I know some games that I thought should have been there, and after watching the showcase, I was like, it didn't matter. Like, and that's what impresses me, because I was like, well, if this is missing, it'll kind of be an L. If this is missing, it'll kind of be an L, and it wasn't. I went in wanting to see Avowed. Avowed was my number one game, and kind of left with a new number one game. And that would be Starfield. I was just so impressed with what I saw from their direct, essentially, that it just kind of blew me away from top to bottom. But overall, I love the showcase. I really liked the new games that were shown from Compulsion and and the Clockwork Revolution. I almost called it Clockwork Orange again. I keep doing that. Yeah, I don't know. That's where my brain wants to go. So all in all, I mean, encompassing the whole thing, I thought it was fantastic for me. I even made a video about this. For me, it's a 9.5. I knocked off half a point just because I thought the family plan was going to be there. So
we talked about that. I thought that was too. I thought that was a good enough announcement. Some people don't like those type of announcements, but something like that, I feel like it fits.
But with it definitely fits to me, because when you're showing 27 games and 21 of them are hitting Game Pass, that perfectly fits to me. That puzzle piece fits right in there, in my opinion.
Would you have swapped that out with that S announcement? Would you much rather have the family plan
definitely. Oh, okay. Without a doubt. I think for me, the Game Pass family plan is a much bigger mic drop than the $50 more, 500 more gig, Xbox S version. I think it's great, but to counter that, you're going to have a lot of people who go, okay, $50 more and I get the digital version of a PlayStation. Like, it's a hard sell. Like, for me, when I saw that coming out and I heard rumors about it, I'm like, man, I hope they hit that $300 price point and just reduce the other one. Yeah. So when it came out at $350, I was like, well, that's cool. Like, it's all black one, so that's kind of neat. But yeah, I would definitely switch the family plan out. So it makes me kind of scratch my head and go, what's going on with the family plan? Like, when the hell is it going to get announced? Is it going to get announced this year? I assumed it was going to get announced at the showcase. But
I think the majority of us did. We talked about this too, Pong.
I would have lost a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely. I would have
bet I would have bet any amount of money that was showing up.
Yeah, I specifically remember me, Pong, us asking that question about the family. I think it was even on my list, my bingo card. I think specifically, I said family plan for sure. If there was going to be some other outside of game kind of announcement.
Right. But yeah, for me, I mean, it was the best show. I mean, I can't think of a better showcase for them, E3 or not. So for me, it kind of all comes down to, did they talk about the games that you wanted to hear about, and did they, are these the type of games that you're going to enjoy? For me, yes, and yes. Yeah. You know what I mean? From Fable to Compulsion's games to even like Star Wars. I even thought, like, a lot of the Game Pass announcements, like Payday 3, I thought looked pretty damn good. Yeah. Avowed to me looked awesome, even though it looked a little different than a lot of people thought it was going to be. It was more colorful, but it's more like it's more Outer Worlds. Exactly. Yeah. So it's more Obsidian to me than the original little trailer was showing anyways. So, and then of course you got the Eastern games coming with all the Atlas. Like, I did predict there was going to be some Sega collaboration there. Not what I thought it was going to be, though. I thought it was going to be like Jet Set Radio and stuff like that. It ended up being like Persona games and stuff, and of course Capcom was the surprise for me. Like Path of Goddess, I was like, holy crap. All right. So so there's definitely some awesome forward progression going on here with on the Eastern front for Xbox. You're seeing deals with Atlas, you're seeing deals with Capcom. We got Path of the Goddess, we got Exoprimal coming out in July. So they're definitely putting in the effort. They're not just talking the talk, they're actually walking the walk. So it was nice to see that. But yeah, I mean, one of the stars for the show for me was Clockwork Revolution too. Everything hit with that personally. The BioShock game, I know that's like a little taboo to say that, but that's what it reminded me of. That's where my head went. And that game just looks awesome.
It does. I mean, and I think that's logical, right? I mean, we don't get too many steampunk games, for one. Let's be fair, right? We don't get a whole lot of those anyway. I don't remember the last like steampunk related game outside of BioShock Infinite. Maybe there's some smaller games, but we don't get those very often. So something that looks like that with those kind of powers, the time frame, it does remind you of BioShock Infinite. I don't really have another comparison, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, and adding in like the whole time travel thing with it too, changing the whole level for you. I thought it was really cool, but the steampunk aesthetic, they nailed it, and it's everywhere. It is way more steampunk to me than Infinite ever was. So,
so it's kind of like BioShock Infinite meets Time Splitters.
Oh god, yeah, that's another game. Yeah, title.
Yeah, I can
Can't
see
wait for
that.
that to come back too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what it seemed like to me. So it stinks that we didn't get a date for that one. It was like time will tell or whatever the hell they said at the end of the trailer. Or,
Yeah.
I was like, thanks guys.
I thought that was interesting more than coming whatever 2025
In
or something
due
like
Yeah,
that, right?
no,
They said
that
in
was
due time.
Coming in due
probably
time.
in
Yeah.
due time. Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
play
probably
on
smarter.
words
Yeah,
as
it was
well.
probably
Yeah.
smarter to say that because I assume it's 2025 now that we know
Yeah.
everything. A bunch of the other games are 2024, and obviously I was sick because for some odd freaking reason I put 2024 for Fable. Don't know where I got that
I
from.
did too. I
Dude,
don't know. Everybody
multiple
I've talked to
people
have
did
said
this. A ton of people did this, and I'm like, why did we all write this down?
something's wrong, man. I feel like they
dude,
showed
went-
it to us and then erased it after the fact.
I swear, I like went back to my recording and I was like, yeah, I'm dumb. I don't get it. I don't know. No
Yeah.
clue why I wrote that date down.
Yeah, I don't know how I
But-
thought it. Everybody risked it. Everybody was like 2024. I thought it was that. I'm like, I did too.
Yeah, and I'm
Real.
still seeing people make that mistake online. I was like, no, sorry if I gave you bad information. Towerborn is another one that surprised me
Yeah,
from
from
Stoic.
Mhm.
I thought that looked like a game I would definitely want to play. So I'm excited, man. Like it definitely, the Atlas games don't really, I'm not like a huge Persona fan, but I'm happy for other people that it's coming.
Yeah,
I'm more of a
yeah.
Capcom guy myself. I'll play Path of Goddess. But yeah, some of this stuff was really cool to see. I know like 33 Immortals, there was that.
Really good. Really good.
That seemed pretty cool. 33 player co-op, which I gotta be honest, it just sounds like a terrible idea. I had to see it in action. Like, I don't even know if I can get 33 people to play. I have a tough enough time getting like 4 or 5 people to play.
I think people are getting that concept is kind of hard to grasp, but I think a game that size, you're not worrying about some super graphically intense game. So that's not that issue.
Not.
So it's
very much like Hades. That's what it reminded me of.
On a smaller scale, with some MMO type, so it could be interesting. We'll see. I know the whole 33 is the hard part to get over, right?
Yeah, it's tough to imagine just I'm just thinking of like being in like a Discord chat with 33 people playing the same game. Like it sounds kind of like a nightmare, but it's interesting. I want to see it work, take chances, right? Take chances and try new things. And I love like just the vibe of South of Midnight with, the guy playing like kind of the bluesy thing. I don't know. I really dug where Compulsion Games is going with that aesthetically too. Like just like the art direction seemed very almost like claymation type of style. And I liked it. I dug it. I think that might be my first like Compulsion game that could kind of break through the mold for me. Like make me really notice the studio and go, okay,
nice.
Like these guys are serious. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much. I know I just rambled on forever, but yeah. So for me, 9.5 for sure. And Starfield just stole the whole damn thing.
Yes,
like,
it did.
Okay.
Starfield was just, I went in, like I said, with Avowed on my head, on my mind, and I left going, I couldn't stop thinking about Starfield, dude. Like the whole, I'm calling it right now. You can clip this shit. That is winning art direction. And if it doesn't, I'm calling BS. I called for Elden Ring to win art direction. It did. If this doesn't win art direction, I'll crap my pants because it just looks so freaking beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I can't see how anyone could step up to the plate and beat these guys with the biomes and just the different planets that they have. Like how the hell are you going to beat Starfield? Good luck. And
I feel such vindication after that.
Oh, so much vindication.
Magnificent breakdown. You remember I was talking to you before, Retry, and PTK, you might remember too, you guys, when I was talking about how Oh Noah's Alex threw me in there like that.
You just can't let that go.
I'm not letting it go. I can't wait for this game to win Game of the Year. I'm going to tag him so much. Like, oh, didn't you just mock me? So he mocked me like, oh, how dare you think that Starfield would dare unseat Zelda for Game of the Year? How
I gotta be honest with you, I kind of thought the same thing, Umbra, and then I watched this and I said, and my mind started changing. I started thinking like this.
You know what happened?
I started
guys?
thinking this is a. I know.
You guys wrote that down in pen. That's why it didn't happen. See, you guys need to stop writing things
there
down
you
in
go.
pen.
Put it in our dream notes or something, our journal.
Yeah.
But you know, it's crazy, Retri, just to say, and PTK is like, everybody was so sure, for whatever reason, that Starfield was not be worthy of anything. And after that showcase, everybody was so sure this is going to be a generational game now. Now they get it.
Yeah.
And I think it took a more sharper, like, visual outlook for them to get it, because it looks so much dramatically better. But everything about it screamed game of the year, screamed game of the generation. You know what I mean? So I just feel vindicated, but I cannot wait for it to win game of the year, just to rub it in everybody who doubted, who dared doubt, who dared to doubt Todd Howard like that. I cannot wait.
I think somebody that's going to talk pretty soon is going to say something similar. I don't know. We'll see. But somebody I know that's here on the panel might say
game,
share
might say
similar
of the generation.
Yeah, share similar sentiments. But no, I agree, man. You know, with you, Retri, your breakdown on it was amazing. Being there in person, man, like the energy, people ready to jump off the balcony, the crescendo, right? Like the pacing of the show, some of the stuff that we thought was going to be like you said, even though there's a bunch of other stuff we could have said, oh man, you know what? They didn't show any of that stuff. There's a whole list of stuff, to be honest with you, that they didn't show that they could have. It didn't feel like there was a detriment that it wasn't there. It didn't feel like it took
cadence,
took
the pacing
away.
was really, the pace was really, really good. And
well,
that makes you not miss Indiana Jones, Everwild, Perfect Dark, State of Decay, anything from id. Like all that was gone. Coalition, all of that is not there. And it's still an amazing show. That's why I decided to do my content about Xbox, because I saw all the studios are buying. I was like, these guys, the cadence is going to be crazy. And as Matt Booty has said, we're doing the 4 a year AAAs. That's already happened this year, is definitely happening next year. So I think I think it just shows the roadmap for Xbox is that good, is so good that you can be missing these huge games, and the showcase still hit it out of the park. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. So let's get your take on this, Umbra. You know, I know you watched the show as well too, man. And like you said, I know you kind of got into it real quick about Starfield, but just your overall take on the show, man. It was electric. I think it's the best show that they've done from top to bottom. It didn't go as long as it could have, but I felt like it was appropriate based on what we got from Starfield. It made sense once we saw what Starfield brought to the table as to why they gave it the extra time. Because we all assumed, everybody assumed it was hour 30 for this Xbox and then a 30 for Starfield. We all just assumed.
I'm sorry. Everybody assumed.
Well, no.
Okay. I assumed it.
No,
I definitely assumed it.
Pong was probably one of the few. He said more time for Starfield, the better. He wanted the whole show to be Starfield, to be honest with you guys.
And I said, don't be surprised. I said, don't be surprised. Because I pulled out even the Fallout 3, they went over 40 minutes. So
he made a guess. I don't want to give him credit.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. He gonna fight you on that one. I'm staying out of that. No, thank you. Yeah,
he was just lucky. That's all.
Well, then, no, where you at on this though, Umbra? I know you, like I said, you just got into it a little bit, man, and I know you kind of was going on your tangent about Starfield, and we can all talk all day about Starfield, but just the Xbox showcase and then the cherry on top, which is Starfield, which, like you said, I agree, man. I think it was probably the most well put together, best thought out from a direction standpoint. It felt like a documentary.
Yeah,
it felt we haven't even gotten this game yet, and it feels like we've already been taken on this strange journey within this game. It felt like nothing but heart and passion went into that showcase. That was nothing but, and it felt true.
I agree.
And it was just way better than I even could have imagined. So where you at on the overall showcase in the Starfield?
The overall is, for me, I gave it a 9 out of 10. I didn't want to give it a 9.5 because I felt like they were
didn't
clear.
Want to copy me.
Well, no, I just thought that, you know, they missed a few moments, like having Hellblade 2 there and basically just seeing Senua walk up, which was gameplay.
I do agree with that.
Yeah,
like,
then all of a sudden, my reflection, and it was like, no,
that was
show us combat.
Show us some combat, yeah.
Exactly. That was like
that
we've seen all the other stuff. We know the game is going to be gorgeous because it's in Unreal Engine 5. How y'all like me in the chat? Yeah. I had to say it. I'm contractually obligated. Anyway, though, seriously, it's like we know the game. We know the game is gorgeous. We know it's going to sound great because I had my headphones on because we were watching it in a watch party at the time.
Yeah,
and you could hear all the same sounds and everything you heard in the first game if you had your headphones on. I'm like, yeah, this game's going to win like some auditory type of award again or something. Visually is going to be gorgeous, but man, show us the combat. That's all they had to do. Yeah, that's all they had to do, and they didn't. So that, and there's a few other small little nicks and knacks, but nothing really harmed this show. I'm just going to be real with you. Even with me wanting to see that, I wasn't like, man, that took it down to this. It only took off a point for me. That's the most I had to be generous enough to just give it a point off, being honest. Seeing Starfield, by the way, just to jump to that, get that type of documentary type of feel like they presented it to us. It felt appropriate because it's such a game that once we were watching that breakdown, the more we saw, the more it was like, well, you can do that. Wait, you can do that too? Yeah. Oh man, do you see that? Oh, look at that planet there. Look at the lighting.
I was hanging off the balcony.
My notes on Starfield are ridiculously long. They're longer than the entire rest of the showcase.
So I'm gonna tell you something. Shout out to Cole Eastwood, but I was sitting there watching, and so I'm sitting behind these guys right on the second row. As the showcase goes on, they're getting further and further off the seat. I had a picture of it, but they're like they're hanging off the balcony. Like, it's just crazy, man. And you really felt like you were being taken on the journey, man. It's crazy because shout out to the devs too, because a lot of times the devs are kind of awkward on camera. Those devs were phenomenal. They were amazing. They were super comfortable, and it was fun to watch. It wasn't boring. It didn't feel like some type of seminar, because space isn't cool sometimes. It's hard to describe space and make it sound fun, right? So they did a great job at making that really fun too.
It's nice to hear that you guys had a good time and the energy was there, because you never know. Like when you go see something live versus when you're seeing it on TV, like the TV production is almost always better because it's more concise and you're not sitting there like an hour before the thing even starts, sitting in the seat and your butt's hurting. You know what I mean? But it's good. I'm glad to hear that you guys were having a good time. So and that the energy was there.
I have to say, I got extreme FOMO once I started seeing you guys taking pictures with Todd Howard and Phil and Sarah Bond and everybody. I'm like, wow, this would have been a perfect time to take my black ass to LA, wouldn't it? But yeah, man, it was dope. You know what was funny to me, PTK? I saw you taking pictures and stuff. I'm like, oh, he did say he was going out there. And I'm seeing all these images. I'm like, the man is having the time of his life. Now I had the time of my life. And I was like,
that's the end of the show.
Let's go. Sarah Bond, hold me.
Go have her run up and have him throw her up like Patrick Swayze did, oh girl. No, but
you can ghost her.
Right. No, PTK, I saw it. I was like, oh, that's what PTK looks like. Okay, I look at my man out there. No, you look like you had the time of your life. You looked happy as hell, man. And look at Bushido talking about I'm glad he didn't go. Just hating on the side.
Yeah, I saw that right away.
Look at this. Yeah. No, man, I had extreme FOMO after seeing like yourself, Risk It, everybody taking all these great pictures out there, meeting everybody. And I was like, you know what? I have to go next year. There's no way to get around that. Like this time next year, I have to go to, but it feels like we kind of missed out on what is to Retri's point, one of the best all-time shows of all time from Xbox.
So of just Xbox or any showcase you've seen
ever,
any showcase.
Yeah, okay. Xbox for
definitely.
Sure.
For sure, Xbox. Yeah, I definitely.
I had said like at one point I was like, this is like top 3 for Xbox, and then the more I think about it, I'm like, well, what else is better? Like, like I'm being real, like genuinely, what else is better? And I had to think maybe 2018 was solid.
18 was good. The first Xbox Bethesda showcase, the first one after they
announced, that was like pretty 20 solid.
Or 21 or something. 21.
21 was really good. I agree. But then I'm like, what else? I don't know. 2007. I had to go back. You know what I mean? But I don't think any outside of maybe 2007. I don't know, man. I don't know if I could put anything above what we saw here, and maybe it's recency bias too. That might play a part in it, but
could be.
I would just say, like Richard said, even the pacing I thought was so. We were in a watch party. It was like 12 or 13 of us, right? All of us were oohing and eyeing at every single thing because they gave us like a punch after a punch after a punch to start off the show. I didn't think Fable would start off the show like that. I thought it would be
me either.
Too. I didn't either.
That's another bet I would have lost. No way would I thought Fable would have opened the show.
Did you have that? as early? Didn't you have that as a possibility, Paul, on
What?
your bingo card?
Don't give him no more credit.
Fable? Yeah, no, I called it. I said it was first.
Guessed it.
No,
man.
I said it was gonna be first. I said it was gonna be first. Yep,
That's
yep,
why I
yep.
brought it up, bro. That's why
He
I
stole it from somebody
Oh,
else.
my goodness.
No, I wasn't alone by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, it was always up in the air, but after the tease, I firmly believed that because it made sense the way that they did the tease leading up to, with the glitter trail up to the showcase screen.
Yeah.
It just made a whole lot of sense. Like, hey, that's the start of the show, right? That they're telling you that that's going to be the start of the show. To me, it made perfect sense, but I know that it was, I mean, yeah, obviously at the end of the day, nobody knew for sure, but it was an honest to goodness just guess. But yeah, no, I did have that one. It made sense.
Yeah, well, his brain power was working a little bit better.
Yeah.
That's all. It is what it is.
Nothing new with that one. Come on, you can't set me up like that, Umbra. Come on, man. You set yourself up to be dunked on. Come on, bro. All right.
No, but seriously, like it was so crazy to see that open. For one, I was very excited to see Fable be shown off. I've been chomping at the bit to see Fable for like the last few years, but I was talking about it as recent as, well, not as recent, but I was talking about it as late as last year, and I was like, I think we'll get Fable next year on the showcase. And they were like, I don't think we would, but here we go. And I did expect to maybe see a collections, because Phil didn't mention the collections, but we didn't see that.
Yeah, none of that.
None
no
of that.
Marcus Phoenix either. None of that. So
no
I don't know what he was talking about.
Which goes to the strength of this show, like you pointed out, Retro, because I had to think back, and I think I didn't, after watching everything, and I'm like, man, we didn't see Halo. We didn't see Gears of War. Two of the top two tentpole franchises in Xbox or in gaming, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Neither were there. And this show was still a 9 out of 10. That just tells you everything you need to know about how great the show was. I was just blown away. And I felt like this is the new Xbox. This is what we needed to see. This was the new regime, if you will. Like we had our former big three, Halo, Gears, Forza, right? Always. Now we're seeing Fable. We're seeing Hellblade take up. Now we got Clockwork Revolution popping up. We might have South of Midnight could pop up in there. And that's not even all, like that's not even the full, 20 plus studios they have that are still working on things. And then we gotta have ABK joining after a second. This is what Xbox, it's just crazy to see this transformation in front of our eyes after so many years, and every time always talking about wait till next year E3, and there's no more E3 to worry about, right? But man, I'm just blown away. I was so happy and satisfied with what they did. I couldn't have been happier, because I was just like, you all have to knock it out of the park here.
Yeah,
you had PlayStation who fumbled, who all of us thought it was going to be a good show with PlayStation.
So this is the thing. I want to make sure, please say that. Make sure you say that, because I don't know why people get this idea, and I'm sure Pong Fuzz will back me up on this one. For a majority, and this might just be my timeline, we all thought that PlayStation Showcase was going to be very good. I don't know a single person that was like, you know what, well, maybe Fuzz.
Danny on our podcast
that was skeptical.
He mentioned it.
True.
It was the morning of Jim Ryan with those two things about the VR and about games coming to PC. I'm like, why are they making these announcements before a showcase? Like, it just felt weird. I didn't think it was going to be as bad. Like, I just thought it was going to be, I knew the PlayStation cats weren't going to be, for those games as a service, but I didn't think they were going to go that heavy on games as a service. I just thought it was going to be like a, midway, like a 7 or something like that. And
yeah,
it did worse than that, I think. But PlayStation
like
should have showed up. A lot better.
We all thought that show was going to be solid. My timeline, there was very few people that were skeptical. Even everybody was like, they're going to come out here and kill it. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah, man. We all, many of us at least, thought that PlayStation would knock it out. I mean, it's been 2 years. They hadn't shown us anything. There's no big roadmap that we knew about, anything like that. We had an idea, like, of course, Wolverine, Spider-Man, like small stuff like that, but we didn't have any outline of that. That wasn't a transparent outline for the future, much like it is for Xbox. And they failed, man. And then you hit the Summer Game Fest, which was slightly better than PlayStation. And we did see a few things that's coming to Xbox as well. Not a few things, a bunch of things. But other than that, that was pretty dry too. But to see this right here, to dominate over both of those the way they did, this is exactly what we were saying when we were saying, hey, don't hold back anything. Show us everything you've got right now that you can show us. And they did exactly that. They listened. They were, and then also just to seeing behind the scenes and stuff like that, you can see how they interact with the fans and everything like that. It just makes you proud, really, to be a part of this community more so. You know what I mean? It might sound a little sappy to say, but it really does reinforce that thought, because you're not going to see that on PlayStation. You're not going to see that with Nintendo. Nope. They're just not going to do it. They're probably looking at their fans like, "Don't you touch me, you dirty."
Well, no one wants a hug from Jim Ryan. I mean, look at that guy.
Oh, come on, man.
Oh, give Jim Ryan. He probably wants a hug or something. He's over there. Oi, give me a hug. I need a hug. I need a hug too. Everybody needs love. But no, it's crazy, man. It's so much emotions going on in the head, right? Like from all of us, I'm sure. And I'm sure PTK, with you being there, you're probably just going screaming in your head, man, of seeing so much excellence left and right. But I definitely had FOMO, man. I wouldn't say jealousy, because I tend not to get jealous of anybody. It's definitely FOMO. Typically the other way around, with people like,
it's weird you don't get jealous. It's really weird. When you consider yourself number one, it's really hard to get jealous. I know.
I don't know what happened with Umbra and Pong before we went live.
Oh man,
nothing. I wasn't here.
That's true. You was playing Diablo.
You were Diablo. Maybe that's what it was. I'm not sure.
He might be mad that I'm a rogue in Diablo, but better. Maybe that's what it is.
Oh, come on, man.
You think it could be a PTK?
Now you're trying to get it personal.
He's just bearing himself more. He's showing his true colors. I mean,
I'm just asking, man. Look, curious minds want to know. Curious minds want to know, because I can't think of any other reason, Punk.
That's okay. You carry that. You carry that self trophy around, right, brother? You just that one that you created, right? You just carry that thing around with pride, man.
Be like Diamond Dallas Page, self high five.
Right, exactly. The $1 million man and his $1 million belt, right? The one he created.
No, man, but seriously, just that showcase was just so magnificent. I know I'm droning on, but it's so many things. I'll let you get to get to everybody, but just blown away.
Yeah.
Thanks, Umbra.
Yeah. Now you can go. Permission granted.
Crazy, man. Look, you're only gonna get this at the shop. Shout out to everybody in chat, man. I didn't forget the super chat. I'll get back to those before the show is over. I promise, man. Shout out to everybody watching live. Get in here, man. Be a part of this energy. Have some of this fun, man. It's our first week back after a hiatus, man. I love to see all you beautiful gamers in here having a good time, man. But I'm gonna throw this over to my co-host, man, and get their opinions. And it's funny because Pong, I watched you guys. Actually, I was sitting there. I low-key had you guys on my lap, so FSP was with me. Shout out to Mav for having a good stream. Shout out to you guys. I did watch you guys. I was kind of listening, watching. I don't know how the hell I was doing that, but I was trying to do both. So I was paying attention, but I just really want to see you guys' reactions. But just in the theater, I know for us, it was electric, brother. Beforehand, you see the confidence, everybody walking around a whole day ahead of time, seeing Phil and Jason Ronald, all those people. Everybody was confident. Everybody, the word I kept hearing though was anxious from the people at XY. They were anxious. It wasn't like this weird energy. They just wanted us to see what they had put together. So, man, they really came out swinging, man. But where you at, man? I know I saw your reaction, but I've been dying to ask you this all week.
Yeah, I got charged up even more because, we had done the prediction shows and I was on with Boxenberger. And, of course, Cog had shown up and Ains showed up from down there as well on Boxenberger's show.
Yeah.
And they were talking about that confidence, right? They were talking, especially Cog. Cog described it perfectly. Like, he's just like, no. He's like, the Xbox executives are walking around telling me you guys aren't ready for what we're about to show you, right? And Cog's not one to fall into that trap. Cog's not one to
he doesn't do the
dramatize. Nah, he doesn't do any of that stuff. So when he said that, and he's like, I'm the one down here trying to calm him down, like trying to, and they're like, no, just wait. So my hype levels were slowly even increasing, even though I had the utmost confidence that they were going to have a great showing. When I started hearing the energy from the people that were down there in LA, and the complete 100% sentiment that yes, they have a different energy right now. There's a different flow down, right? We haven't seen this in forever from Xbox. As soon as I started hearing that across the board, I was like, okay, well, I'm believing it. Again, this was all, after, we had the Greenberg tweet storm, right, where he went off and he's just like, no, I ain't tempering anybody's expectations. Love the hype, just go. Like, I was like, okay, all right. So I walked into the show, obviously, again, I already said, and I said it during that day, it was already at a 10 out of 10 for me because of Starfield. And it could only go up from there. Unless they came out and just completely flopped. Like, every game they showed looked horrible. Like, this show, I already had that energy that this was going to be something great. So the show started, led off with Fable. And again, of course, we had 3-Bit, right? And 3-Bit has been telling us behind the scenes, he worked on Fable, right? So he's been with that team before as a contracted dev. So he worked on that game, and he's been telling us behind the scenes, you just wait. I mean, he can't say anything, and he doesn't because he's a good dude, right? I'd be blabbing my mouth left and right, he's a good dude, but he's just like, no, you guys just got to wait and see what they're doing. He's like, you guys are going to be shocked, right? He's like, you guys, just wait. So the Fable showed up, and we were like, oh my God. And of course, we had all, we were reading the screen like Greenberg said, figuring out if it's in-game, in-engine, whatever the case may be. It seems like some people in this community, well, a lot of people in this community can't read at all. But so again, we were already assuming that this was in engine, right? This was in game, right? And of course, the quick cuts. If you watch enough showcases, you know what to look for. Her throwing the fireball, the sword, the sword fight. We knew instantaneously that was game. That was game.
People got amnesia after the showcase. Like we don't know the difference between the two.
Right.
This has never been a problem before.
Correct.
Because it looked that good.
It looked that good, but this was
that good, so people debated it.
But Retchie was the same thing that we went through with Forza Horizon 5, right?
Gamers have short memories, you know what I mean?
I know they do. The shortest in the world. I know. But we had 3-Bit right there, and we all, we said, 3-Bit, is this it? And he goes, that's what the game looks like. He's like, yep, that's what the game looks like. So right there, we were like, oh my God, okay, all right, Playground, you're pulling it off. All the confidence we've had in you, yes, worth it. Do your thing. Cook all you need to cook. We'll see you in 2025.
Yep.
Fables in good hands. We're good, right? So that started off the show, like everybody's already said, on an extremely high note. And then just from there, it continued to roll. I thought the pacing throughout the show, they handled it very well. Very little. I mean, we had Sarah Bond up there for about 3 minutes, which was fantastic. It's always nice to see her and hear her words. And Phil at the end, obviously, for the Series S reveal in his final words on the showcase before Starfield. Throughout there, I thought they did, because I had talked about this too. It was very important if they were going to be coming with all these big first-party titles, which we assumed up front there was at least 5 that we thought were going to be there. It wound up being 11, right?
Yeah, we almost double that.
Yep. Yeah. So, and I had said previously too, I thought there was a chance of upwards of 10. So I was off by a little bit, but I started counting out and I was like, okay, they got a lot here. But the big thing was mixing in the third parties so that the third-party titles weren't lost, right? So it wasn't just like, oh my God, look at what Xbox just showed, 5 first-party titles in a row, my God. And then, Atlas shows up and everybody's still talking about the 5 first-party titles. They did a nice job mixing in those third parties and giving them the spotlight that they deserve. And indie games like 33 Immortals had its moment to catch people's attention, right?
Exactly.
And I thought they did a great job with that. Just cut to cut, game after game after game. Really nice flow there.
Well, that's kind of been their thing the last few years. That's that pacing, and where they very little talking.
Better and better.
Yep.
Better and better. They've learned all the stuff we were talking about 2 years ago about, kind of cleaning up their showcases, getting those directs down pat. Listen, look, they've done it, right? They hired that team. They brought in a lot of people to help with this stuff. They've built a formidable marketing team now that knows how to put these shows together, these directions together, and it's showing. They're getting better and better. So I thought that was fantastic. Avowed, something I've been waiting on for a long time because I'm obviously an Obsidian fan, big RPG fan. So They went out Avowed. I saw exactly what I needed to see from this. If people were disappointed, if people thought they had a different idea what Avowed was going to be like, that's okay. I understand.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when I look at this game, it's an Obsidian game. Through and through, this is Obsidian. Okay, so if you liked Outer Worlds, chances are you're going to love Avowed. Okay, that's how this is going to go. If you don't like Outer Worlds, if you don't like that style, if you don't like the more focused nature of that RPG versus an open Skyrim type game, then maybe it won't be for you. But for me, I'm all in. This is exactly what I expected. Now, I think there's some things lost here a little bit because people who don't know the Pillars of Eternity world, and there's a lot of people who don't know that because, again, a lot of people don't play those CRPG type games, right? So they're not going to understand how deep the lore is. They're not going to understand how deep complex the spell casting is. They're not going to understand that the combat, all of that, I believe Obsidian's going to translate into this game. And just because it has brighter colors, just because it doesn't have photorealistic type graphics, because it has that Obsidian art style, does not mean that this game is not going to be serious or take a serious tone. Pillars of Eternity can be very serious. It can have little quips and comedy, but it's not going to be like the Outer Worlds, at least as far as I'm imagining right now. You're going to have little moments of brevity. You're going to have little moments where you're kind of chuckling to yourself and laughing. There's going to be some one-liners with your companions, etc. But overall, I think when you get into this game, you're going to see something darker, deeper than you thought just by first glance looking at the graphics. And what I saw was clean. What I saw was very, very put together. I definitely am taking it as, okay, we probably still got about another year. This is going to be an older build that they showed us because they got the showcase together a while ago. This game is going to come out polished. This game, they decided in development, they talked about this, they were going to do a Skyrim open world. They decided to focus it down into something that they are masters at, which is that smaller experience. By no means is Outer World quick. You can certainly spend 50, 60, 70 hours in that world easy, and that's not counting the DLC, but is it Skyrim? No, it's not. But we're going to have a great, great RPG from, like I said, the little brother, the Bethesda all this time, but they are some of the best world builders, the best character designers. All of that is here, and they already had the lore of Pillars built up. So Avowed blew me away.
And bigger doesn't mean better either.
No, it doesn't always.
I hate that concept. You know what I mean? So are
does.
the people like, oh, it's not as big as the last game? Well, that's not going to be good. That's just not true.
That's not true.
Ask Ubisoft. Ask Ubisoft.
I was going to say, that was a perfect example. I was going to say, look at the hype for Assassin's Creed. People want that game to get small, more linear.
Exactly, PTK. I'm super excited for Mirage for that exact reason. More linear. Thank you.
Correct. With Obsidian, I do want them to attempt a bigger open world at some point because I think they can pull it off. I have faith they can pull it off. If this wasn't the moment
we're not sure how big that
we don't know how big it's going to be, but was this the moment switching over to Unreal Engine 5, learning that new engine, getting all that transfer?
Yeah.
Was this the time to do that? Probably not, right? So that's fine. I'm cool with that. I'm not going to run through every game here. You guys have touched on a lot of them, right? Seeing Atlas there in full force, again, solidifying something that we talked about. It's a huge deal, bro. It's a huge deal to have a new title like Metaphor show up on that stage first, have people asking the question, is it coming anywhere else? Is this an Xbox exclusive? Is what's going on?
They confirmed it is.
Yes, it is. They had to. They bent the knee to the pressure and they did it. But to have those 3 games up there from Atlas, solidifying the fact that, okay, Sony, you might be able to go buy your exclusivity from Square Enix, but Xbox doesn't even have to buy exclusivity. They just have Atlas showing up at their showcases, showing off the games and starting to get those Atlas games identified with Xbox without having to pay for that exclusivity. This is their counter punch. And for everybody who doubted us, what was it, PTK, a year and a half ago now, 2 years ago, when Sega and Microsoft cut that deal to help Sega create those games in the cloud, and everybody said, well, it's just a cloud deal. It's not a big deal. It's not like they're getting anything out. We were right here telling y'all it was a whole lot bigger deal. It was a whole lot bigger deal, and guess what? It's showing through. right? We are getting proof in the pudding now that this was a bigger deal. This is their counterpunch to Square Enix, getting close with Atlas. Those games, Atlas is on the rise right now. Persona is getting more and more popular with every release. All their titles are getting more and more popular. That's what you want, and this was great to see. Everything else was fantastic. The two games, obviously, that I was pushing to see here was Compulsions and In Exiles. Two companies that I have been talking up for a long, long time.
Yep.
Two companies under the radar through all the acquisitions that Xbox has made. Two companies that have been kind of looked at like, why'd you guys buy those? What are you doing over there, Xbox? Why?
The same way a Psychonauts developer got looked at as well.
Correct.
Exactly. Everybody's looking sideways like, why did they pick up Double Fine? Like, what did they do?
Right. What's the point of this, right? What are they going to do for Xbox? This also goes back to all of our talks about how Xbox doesn't build their own studios. They just buy studios. Totally ignoring the fact that they go out and get these studios that are double A level quality studios and then bring them in and say, what do you need? And Compulsion said, well, we got this idea for this big AAA game, adventure, third person, showed it off to Phil. Phil loved it. He said, what do you need? Oh, well, we're going to need a studio and we're going to need some more people. Done. Here's your new studio. Now go get your people. Right? And they show up here after a long time of speculation of what this was going to be. Sure, we didn't get gameplay, but South of Midnight did exactly what I asked you to do the first time you're going to tease your game. Give me the feel. If you're not going to give me gameplay, give me that atmosphere, right? There is no doubt what kind of atmosphere this game is going to have 100%. After that trailer, right? Period.
And they gave us some more information after on Twitter as well, too. A little bit more of a deeper dive, right?
Absolutely. This is how you do it. This was a great showing from Compulsion. I'm all in on South of Midnight. I think this is going to be fantastic. And then In Exile shows up. And now this is a studio I've been pumping hard. This is a studio that I absolutely love, that I've said, look out. When we start talking Xbox down the road, who are the studios people are going to be looking at? Well, of course, you got your Bethesdas, you got your Obsidians, blah, blah, blah. There's this little studio In Exile who with over the top, or I should say isometric view, strategy, CRPG style games in Wasteland did some of the best writing and world building out of any studio out there if you actually played those games and paid attention. Talk about decisions with consequences. Go play Wasteland. You want to see what it's really like. This studio was just waiting for the chance to be underneath an umbrella like Xbox, who was going to give them the time, the money, and the resources. Brian Fargo is one of the most respected men in this industry because of the simple fact he's been doing quality for decades now, right? And he brought In Exile along. Go watch their documentary about what that studio's been through and how crazy it is that they're even still here today. Now they got Xbox as a parent company. Well, guess what? Same thing. What do you need in Exile? What you got going on? Well, Phil, we're not going to, we're thinking about branching out. We're going to do a first-person RPG, with some clockwork, some steampunk action, and we got this great idea. Done. What do you need? Oh, we're going to need money. We're going to need people. Done. Go get them. Guess what? Now they show up after all this time where people going, where's In Exile? Where's In Exile? All we had was a code name. They show up with Clockwork Revolution, and what does it look like? The best blend of Dishonored and BioShock I've seen in a long time. And we're going to throw in time travel that, by the way, remember Wasteland with all the consequences of your decisions? Yeah, we're going to keep all that in here too. And you're going to be able to time travel and change the world around you. I just caught
that right now as soon as you said that. It literally just connected me, the whole consequence.
Correct. Thing. Consequences,
she
right?
said it in the trailer. What have I done afterwards? Yeah.
Correct. Yep. And the way that they've positioned this game, they are... People can say, well, how much really are they going to do? When it comes to In Exile, I believe that everything that we got in Wasteland is going to be transported into this game in the first-person mode, and it is going to be full-fledged In Exile RPG, as they have now come out and confirmed right after the showcase, saying, you know what, guys, this is not just going to be like some action game, slight RPG, kind of like BioShock or whatever you want to say. No. This is going to be all In Exile. You get to custom create your character. You're going to have all the decision-making. You're going to have all the RPG stuff that you've come to love from us in this game. Count me in day one. This could be the next big game, the next big franchise, because people, like you said, PTK, we don't get a lot of steampunk. We don't get this aesthetic all the time. And if somebody comes along and makes an RPG that has consequences, that really makes you care about the characters and the world around you, I don't care what studio it is. I don't care what they made in the past. You got a winning formula. And I think NXile does, folks. And I think that people are going to start looking, going, well, damn, that was one of their best acquisitions after all. Yeah. Xbox has acquired some of the best RPG talent in the world. We have been talking about this time after time. There is very few studios around that have the acquired talent that any one of these teams currently has. And they're only getting better because now they got the resources behind them, right? So now they get to show their wares. People are going to start really thinking about this after these games start dropping in the Game Pass, and it's just RPG, 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 and it's, high metas, people talking about it, people playing for a long time. This showcase solidified that for Xbox 100%, and I've started to see the conversations happen about, well, what do we got over here? What do we got? Well, Horizon's an RPG. Yeah, Horizon's an RPG. We got that. We got that. Yeah, we got one.
Action game?
Yeah, listen. It's different. It's different, and they know it, but like I said, they're trying. It's just really interesting to see that everything that we talked about for so long across all of our shows, everybody here on the panel, I know has talked about this. There was going to come a moment in time with Xbox, with how many studios they have, how many games that they are making, that eventually we're going to get a showcase like this. And let me tell you, this showcase is lined up for the next 3 years. Okay. The way that their current situation is with the amount of games that are currently in production and the roadmap, how it's going to be laid out, we're going to get this type of showcase through 2026, okay? Because that's how the studios are currently planned out. This was just inevitable. As much as people want to deny it, as people want to say Xbox still got no games, they were finally going to come, and this showcase was the start. And then, again, I know I've been speaking a lot, but this is overall, since everybody else did the overall kind of showcase here, that's what I'm going to do. But then of course we get to Starfield, right? And like I said, the greatest single deep dive on a game ever. I will stand on that hill.
I've watched it 4 times.
I'm up to, with reactions from other people, I've watched the thing a total of probably 12 times or close to right now, because I've watched so many different reactionary videos to that specific, to the entire direct. This right here topped off an entire showcase. Yes, In Exile could have been the one more thing, but as I stated too when we were talking about how the showcase was going to go down, technically speaking, Starfield was the just one more thing, especially how they just rolled into it 10 seconds later. There was no break. That was it, right? Starfield was going to overshadow anything you threw at that just one last thing anyways. So the way they kind of ended, I know some people were disappointed, but really, if you want to look at it, In Exile was the last game shown. It was kind of their just one last thing. It was a great showing, and then they kind of broke it up with Phil and the announcement of this new Series S, which I thought was fine, because then you're rolling in Starfield and everybody by that point is on the edge of their seats waiting to see what Todd and the A-Team are going to do for this deep dive. And let me tell you something.
People were shocked they were getting that much time as well.
Yeah,
I was like,
they
it's
were
over already.
Yeah,
like, whoa, we're moving on already.
Yep. On our reaction show, I was like, I'm getting my call. Listen, look at this. They're going to show up for this long, right? It made a lot of sense because it's a brand new IP and it's so gigantic. They needed more time. Again, Fallout 3, which was a new IP for them at the time and a totally different game from what Fallout was before, they ran over 40 minutes. That's why I made the comparison originally when I said, Starfield could get more time. That's what they did. But really, this deep dive here push so many people who are on the fence, and I'm so happy about this because you've got us believers, you've got us Bethesda stands, you got us God Howard fans, all have been hyping this game nonstop. But then you got a lot of people who've been sitting back going, I just don't know, I'm just on the fence. To a T, almost every single person who was on that fence that I've seen on Twitter, that has hit me up in the DMs, that I've seen in chat, after the show, after the direct, they were fully on board. Like, there is no question that they're on board and they're sold. So this direct did exactly what it was meant to do. It was meant to showcase the biggest game launch for Microsoft, for Xbox, since, again, I'll say it, Halo CE. We can talk about that if you agree or don't agree. This is one of the biggest launches in its history. Yeah. Pure and simple, point of fact. The conversation around this game alone, since the Direct, should show you that. The amount of people talking about Starfield, the amount of articles positively being written by the mass media, the people that we criticize all the time, is undeniable right now. This game blew people's minds, as some of us knew it would. But even for me, this deep dive exceeded my expectations. Todd has been known in the past to make a lot of big promises and not necessarily hit those, right? Shoot for the moon and land amongst the stars, right? That's a lot of what he's done. Now, people call him a liar, all that kind of stuff, whatever. People forgot what Bethesda is. Todd came out here with his team and put together this Direct in such a fashion that there was no questions left unanswered except for what the hell is the Force doing in this game, right? That was the only question left over.
We asked that question. I'll let y'all know what he said. Yep.
Okay, all right, perfect. I can't wait to hear the answer. But that's the only thing they left, and that was a great moment to leave it off on. But every other thing that Todd talked about, they showed on screen. He's done other he's done other showcases like this where he showed off one of his games, and he's talked a lot, but didn't have the video for everybody to see with their own eyes behind him. A lot of it was words. They had a lot of gameplay. They would run through a whole mission, all that kind of stuff. You got to see a lot of his games in action. But you never got to see point by point by point as he and the entire team talked about each and every mechanic in this game, and there's still more to show, but what I'm talking about is the ones they chose for this Direct. Each time they brought up a new point, they were showing video of that happening. That's how you do a showcase, because people can't go, well, that's great, Todd. I'm really glad you told me that. But, you remember when you said it just works? You remember 16 times the detail? You remember those, Todd? Now there is proof in the pudding that was shown to all of us to see. And this game is now bigger and more vast, more complicated than I think any of us ever thought they were going to do. It feels like they've thought of everything that people would want to do in space exploration and tried to give it to us. Of course, there's going to be limitations. Of course, we're going to find those boundaries where we go, oh, okay, well, I can't really do that. But when they say you can pretty much do anything you want to, I am starting to believe it in this game. Like, I'm starting to get to that point where I'm like, yeah, I think so. The minute they showed me they had thought of space piracy the way that I envisioned it, I was like, okay. That's it. They win. It's over with. It's done. This is it. You are truly going to be able to live your experience in Starfield and create your own game within Starfield, because this is 5 or 6 different genres in one. And however you want to play this game, this is the ultimate sandbox for people. The fact that every planet is going to be different for people, I know some people have concerns with that. I don't have concern with that. That's going to increase the amount of water cooler stories around this game exponentially. Because when you're talking to other friends and family or whoever you're talking to about Starfield, and you say, hey, did you go find this planet? Well, yeah, I did find that planet, crazy enough. Well, this is what happened to me. This is what it looked like. And the next person's going to be like, well, that's not what it looked like for me. Yeah, I had that mission there, but no, that's not how it all wound up happening, because there was all this other different stuff going on. Those water cooler moments that we always talk about with Bethesda games are going to be just so much more now, and the randomness in this game is still there, and it's going to be on a whole nother level. I'll end it here. I want to read this thing from, because you guys know me, I love the randomness of Bethesda games. That's one of the biggest draws for me. While you're out exploring, anything is possible. And this made the rounds. Todd did an interview. I think this was the IGN one. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Where they asked him what was a cool moment that he had experienced at Starfield, because they've been playing since November, December. And Todd Howard said, let's see. Just a few weeks ago, I had landed on one of the early planets, and the sandstorm blew through. And I went to run away from it. And ships can randomly, and he pauses, once in a while, they can randomly land. Enemy ships can land. So I'm going through the sandstorm, the ship landed, and I get into this firefight. And then I got onto the ship. And while I'm shooting the guys on the surface of the planet from the ship took off into space. Now I'm in outer space on the ship, and I was just like, "Can that happen?"
That's
amazing. I guess that can happen.
Crazy,
yeah,
that's amazing.
It's so this creation engine in the sandbox that Bethesda creates, which they are the only ones who can do this. There are many who try. There are some who get close. but there will only be one Bethesda. There will only be one creation engine. This engine is made for these moments. And the fact that Todd Howard, the guy who thought up this game, can be surprised about what happens in his own game, that goes a long way to telling you what this experience is going to be like. It will be what you want to make it. Again, show 10 out of 10 for me. I take them all in a vacuum. I don't compare them to anything else or previous shows. Is this the greatest show of all time? Right now, yes. Would I have to go back and honestly start looking at the older showcases to try to see? But no, I put this one up there with Sony's Hope and Dream showcase. I put this up there with any of the showcases you want to talk about because of what the importance was here and the fact that they delivered on every point that was asked of them, and they've still got more to show. They've still got more bullets in the chamber for later shows. They talked about that, but this show did exactly what it needed to do. Starfield showed up as an 11 out of 10. We'll see how the final product gets out to us, but I have all the faith in the world now, and the roadmap is clear. Even without dates, the roadmap is clear, and I said I don't want dates unless you guys are ready, so I'm okay with them not giving me dates. Those non-dated games are 2025. The other ones are 2024. I can see that from here. I don't need Windows. I don't need any of that stuff. But you guys showed me the roadmap. I now have a really good idea, at least from first party, what I'm going to be playing for the next 2 years, next 2.5 years. And that's all I asked of you. And you delivered on every single moment throughout that showcase for me. So that's where I'm at.
Man, look, I'm going to tell you something about Starfield before I get on to you, Fuzz. I don't want you to get lost in the sauce because I know we're so excited here. Shout out to everybody in chat, man. We're so excited. Shout out to Missing No, Cyber, Talos, everybody hanging out in chat. Omerita. Once again, retweet that link. Let everybody know the Shop Podcast is live. Slayer, shout out to you. Appreciate you guys. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. But let me tell you something about what I felt like watching Starfield and why that was probably, and I agree with your sentiment about it being the greatest like individual like game breakdown I've ever seen, because like there was this moment, bro, the music, like just the composition,
Enon Zur, baby.
Oh my God, bro. Like, so we're sitting there. I forgot it felt like it was an experience. It wasn't really just a game breakdown. And like you said, everything we thought we wanted to see, they stuffed into this game and they broke it down in a very layman's term, like where it wasn't boring. It wasn't a Mark Cerny breakdown, talking about, what I mean? It wasn't dry. It wasn't, real whiteboard. It wasn't any of that kind of stuff. It was fun. It's the tone was perfect. It lined up right with the game. It didn't take itself too seriously. Like you said, and the key thing, and I think people miss this, everything they talked about, there was a moment right after where they showed somebody doing it, like it happening in the game.
Yep.
That's extremely important, and I think that's getting lost, Pong, and I don't know why people are losing sight of that, man. We're expecting.
That's what they did in the direct too, PTK. Yeah. That's exactly what they did in the direct, and that's like it's funny that you bring that up because that is one of the things that I mentioned multiple times on podcasts that they did so well. They talked about it, they showed it. They talked about it, they showed it. That's a winning formula.
And it's crazy to think that we've got to a point. Starfield's a game. Right? We've never seen this game before. Nobody's even attempted to make a game like Starfield. And people expect the game that we've never seen to be great. Like, we don't know. We've never seen a game like this. So, like, what should the normal expectations what should they be? Like, we have to start looking a little bit differently at a game like Starfield. Starfield's not a regular game.
Generational.
You know what I mean? Like, it's generational. Mm-hmm. Like, we need to start looking at it appropriately. Like, I don't understand. Like, I get the 30-60 thing, and I'm sure we'll get into that in due time. But even if you look at the total package, man, like I have to make an exception. I can't look at all of that. Yeah. It's like me going on a date with a girl that checks every box and getting mad because she doesn't use the chapstick I like.
Right.
I know that's not cherry she used.
Yeah, like what? Oh, no, no. Date is over. Date is over. I can't do this. I can't do this at all. Like, that's ridiculous. You not just see did we not just watch that 45-minute presentation? Like, I can't get with that energy. I can't get with the energy. I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't usually put my feet in the sand like this, but I can't get with that energy at all. You can't tell me after a 45-minute presentation that greatness that you still view that game in the same light after watching that. So I don't. That's where I'm at on Starfield. It blew me completely out of the water. I had nothing to say the whole showcase. my feet was on the floor, my jaw was on the floor, my phone was on the floor, everything was just it was amazing, man. Like I couldn't have drawn it up any better, man. But let's get to Fuzz. I know I'm ranting here, but go ahead, Fuzz. I know you were hyped about this showcase too. We talked about it a lot beforehand, but did it exceed your expectations as well?
It met it on pretty much every forefront. I gave it a 10 out of 10 just for the fact that even though, there were some things missing from it as far as like whether it be some of the games that could be coming out later, but overall for the showcase for what it was, they showed game after game after game. Yes, they showed hardware, which I was kind of surprised about, but as far as the games that they showed, the two main dreams that I wanted to see were, what was known as Project Midnight, now South of Midnight, and Project Cobalt, which is Clockwork Revolution. Those were like the hope and a dream. Like, at least, come on, let's get a peek of this game that these guys have been cooking for a little bit, and let's see what it's about. So the fact that they showed us that, the fact that Forza showed up in excellent form as expected, the fact that Starfield definitely showed up better than expected, and I didn't know as far as the expectation. I figured maybe this will be like a couple of steps above like a Mass Effect. You have your story, you have your exploration. No, this is full on like.
I don't want to hear that No Man's Sky shit. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah,
this is full on.
I don't want to hear that.
No, it's annoying. This is full on Star Citizen with story, and it works kind of thing. And you have the persistent stuff going throughout the universe. Like you can steal sandwiches and have them in the cargo hold, and they'll still be there. That's what they tried to do on Star Citizen recently and broke the servers and made a whole bunch of people pissed off. And that thing is still in beta. So this game is above and beyond ambitious as far as what to expect. And I kind of have my answer as far as being able to make a fleet of ships. Because if you can, pirate a ship, like basically board the ship or steal the ship or dock the ship, make it personal, take out the crew one by one and whatnot, and have that as part of your fleet and stuff. That's awesome. So this game has everything that we could have asked for as far as for a sci-fi fanatic. I mean, it even has force powers. Like, come on, everybody was joking about, it's a Han Solo simulator. No, this is a Jedi simulator. Although I'm guessing we'll probably have to finish most of the story quest stuff to find whatever we're looking for to get those force powers. But hey, I'm going to lose a lot of hours and a lot of sleep trying to get that. So that's man, that game I think delivered everything that everybody was asking for. The 60-30, build a better rig. Or wait until the modding community gets a hold of it. But I would say for the most part, in hand at 30, I doubt I'll have any problems with this game. Like, a lot of people played Mass Effect at 30 without any problems, and this is looking a lot better than even the most recent updates for Mass Effect. So it showed up. It looks excellent, and can't wait to play it. Forza, now they had a better breakdown on Tuesday on the extended showcase. But they showed a lot of things in that showcase as far as the upgrades of the cars, and we're finding now that it's going to be more of, instead of it being a grind fest like GT7 was to some extent, it's going to be more of a gradual increase or car RPG, which we kind of joked about with Forza Horizon 5, where you have the different traits for cars and things that you can unlock. But this is going to be more so where the car you choose, you can build it. Let's say that build doesn't work for you, you can go ahead and reset it, and it doesn't cost you anything as far as like your car points get refunded when you change the configuration of the car. So there's a lot of beneficial things that aren't as grindy or frustrating as there are in some other racing sims. But there's just one more question I have on that one as far as like the paint schemes for AI cars, but that's like at the bottom of the list of importance in comparison to all the stuff they showed. The damage model still looks like it's intact. Ray tracing on track is still intact. The AI is improved, so that way now you don't have to worry about the first turn where all the AI either brake check you or pile up in the first corner kind of thing. So it looks like they can take other racing lines and race competitively. No more of that rubber banding that you see when you set it to unbeatable, where it's like the computer purposely gives them 5 extra horsepower or something until you pass, and then it's like they fall off a cliff kind of deal. But Forza, that between seeing Forza and Starfield, that was going to be a good showcase for me. Seeing South of Midnight and seeing Clockwork Revolution, that gave it the 10 for me. And then all the stuff in between, like I haven't even mentioned that we were blown away with seeing the Star Wars trailer reveal. Sure, who cares about exclusives? But like the fact that they were able to show it on their stage before the Ubisoft showcase, I don't think anybody knew anything about.
I didn't think,
showcase.
I definitely didn't. That wasn't on my card at all.
It was a pleasant surprise. Finally, we got to see that game that is taking away Division 3, but that's nor here nor there. But it looked awesome. That's another game, not as ambitious as Starfield, but it's definitely going to be something I'm sinking a lot of hours into playing. And then we have 33 Immortals, which I'm a big fan of Hades, and it's not a carbon copy of Hades by any means, but it's that similar style, like roguelike type game. But it's 33 co-op, like 33 player co-op. That is insane. Like, and we always joke about how like the indie devs are the ones that innovate and bring new things to the table. That is something new right there that I'm definitely going to want to try out. Payday 3 from day one in Game Pass. Avowed, we got to see Avowed, and I know it doesn't seem as dark as far as maybe that original CGI trailer, but it still has that magic. That was probably the main thing that I wanted with Avowed, is the hand signals and stuff. Not like what do you call
Avium? Immortals Avium.
What's the not Ghost? Ghostwire Tokyo. Yeah. Like how they have like the different elemental things that you can do as far as with the hand gestures and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a different style of hand gesture, but that was the main thing I wanted in that game, along with sword fighting. And it looks like they even have pistols in the game. So it's going to be an awesome combination as far as different weapon types and attack types. And it's an Obsidian game, and love the Outer Worlds. So if it's as good to play as Outer Worlds, but with magic and swords, I'm there for it day one. Hellblade 2 showed up. Sure, we didn't see combat. I'll be honest, I'm not even worried about the combat, considering that they went through building a new mocap studio and sent her through training. I think they were going to save that for last, so I'm not worried about not seeing combat at this point. The fact that they showed it on the Series X and it looked that amazing is all I need. And the audio is still intact as far as the craziness of hearing voices. Like, it sounds like it's literally in your head from different angles and stuff like that. That was probably the biggest thing for me as far as for Hellblade 2. And hopefully we get to see it early 2024 or maybe mid 2024. But I guess that's going to be the next one in the release window type of deal. And then you had Flight Simulator, which that's a different game. That's a whole new game in the sense of it's like Mud Runner or Snow Runner, but with airplanes and helicopters. And it's a game I didn't know I wanted, but now I'm glad that they've made it, kind of thing. Because I mean, it's fun, just acting like you're an airplane pilot, flying from Kennedy to LAX or something like that. But now you can have different missions and things along those lines, and try different things as far as whether it be rescue or fire suppression, as far as for the forest fires and stuff, weather chasers or storm chasers and things like that. So that just looks like it's going to be a whole cool setup for, a relaxing but more intense, relaxed game than what the original Flight Sim was. And then the fact that, like you guys mentioned earlier with Sega, that partnership, I think we're starting to see the fruits of all that. All the naysayers that were like, oh yeah, like you said, it's just cloud. Yeah, look at you guys now. But for the most part, the fact that they had Persona, which it got leaked, but the big picture thing didn't get leaked. So it's almost like some people were saying maybe it was a tactical leak, maybe to at least bring those Persona fans to the show and then show them the game that they heard about like 4+ years ago, and hadn't heard much since. And it shows up for its debut on Xbox's showcase or on Xbox's stage. I think that's a nice way to send a message to those fans that, you can play these games over here. And it may not be day one in Game Pass, but the fact that it's here and it gets announced on stage for Xbox, I think is an awesome,
it seems small, but it's major in its own way, right?
Yeah. Definitely. But
but Fuzzy, for you though, with Forza, and I know you're a big Forza fan, and like they're turning it somewhat of a RPG with elements, right? That's what I've heard, and I got to race with you. I'm going to tell you though, I race dirty, so I'm going to smash into your car. I'm letting you know right now. I'm not doing all that. Oh, smooth, clean drive. I'm not doing
that. Means you and Mav need to race together. Because that's what Mav does. So Fuzzy's not going to race against you, bro.
I'm a NASCAR fan, so Rubbin is racing. So as long as
they ain't talking Rubbin, Fuzzy.
I'll make sure I move out of the way in turn so you can go. They're definitely taking it a little bit of different direction as far as like an RPG aspect. But I think most of that is going to be centered around the career mode. I don't know if the free play aspect is going to be affected as much, but I think for those that want to feel like they're a grassroots racer, like you just bought this Corvette or you just bought this, Mazda MX-5 and you want to take it to the track, you're going to start off stock and then you're going to, learn the limits of the car and you're going to upgrade the suspension or upgrade the aero on the car. And I think the more you drive the car, the more some of those mods will make sense or they'll steer you in a better direction to make you more competitive. And then you could take all of that you've learned from that and race online. But I think what they're going to do is, as far as for not necessarily penalties, but I think you'll be rewarded more for cleaner racing. But I mean, winning is winning, so you're going to get the payout at the end of the day. But I think they'll emphasize cleaner racing in the sense that you'll probably get bigger rewards or more XP towards the car to be able to unlock more things. But I think it's a nice way to help the online aspect, because the way their online racing is currently in comparison to GT7, because the penalty systems aren't, quite the same. I think this will help that, so you don't have as many rammers. And if someone becomes a rammer, they'll probably be in the field of cars or drivers of other rammers. So it'll be almost like when they had the GT5 cheater or GTA Online cheater servers and stuff like that. So I think it will help.
Put them in their own server, like they can play with the regular
timeout. Yeah, you don't have to race with the regular people, bro. Sorry.
Yeah, so I think that will help. Encourage people to race cleaner, but rubbing is racing. So as long as you're not like shunting them right out of the corner, I think they'll be fine. Like you can nudge them out the race line, just don't completely spin them out. No pit maneuvers or anything like that. But they're improving the sportsmanship aspect for online and letting you kind of learn that through the career mode. And the fact that you can live out a grassroots racing, prospect as far as in the career mode, where you can test out different builds or different, upgrades to the car. And then if you find out, hey, maybe that sway bar wasn't as good of an upgrade as I thought. Let me put more into the brakes and the suspension and other components and stuff. And you find out that way that might work out better for your driving style and stuff. So it's a lot more, I think, detailed. And well, they have already improved the detail as far as making it, 8 points of contact per tire. So you're going to be able to see the more of the effects of heat, and like a race line where more cars travel on this track. So there's heat in the track. There's more rubber laid down on the track. So it's going to help translate a lot more things that you would expect in a real car onto that screen to make it more enjoyable. At least I know for me it will, and I'm pretty sure it'll definitely make it more enjoyable for anybody that's looking for that
crazy
real life sim.
More detail for more simulation. Racing, huh? Yeah,
definitely. They don't take it turn it up to 11. They always do. These are expectations to turn 10 in Playground, man. So I just don't. That's why I don't understand why people have other opinions. Like this is not what they do all the time. Like every year, this is normal for them.
but I do have to, like, one closing thought I'll say on Fable, and like we may mentioned earlier, 3-Bit worked on it and everything, and he didn't spill the beans or anything like that. He just said, it's going to be unbelievable when you see it. It's going to be amazing, kind of thing. And I took that as, well, look at what Playground's done with Horizon 5. I figured it was going to be realistic environments, maybe a stylized character set or something like that, which Fable wasn't really on my radar as far as a game, just because I didn't play the previous ones, and I'm not really for that style of character type of thing. It's almost like Bully for Rockstar, and I know that probably sounds weird that I'm saying that, but it just wasn't on my radar as far as a game prior to the showcase. And seeing that they went pretty much close to photorealistic on everything, not just the environments, the characters themselves, expression. And yeah, I know there are some 12-year-olds complaining, oh, the main character's ugly. It's like, go play Tomb Raider from the 80s or something. But anyway, but as far as like the overall look of that, how unbelievable, to the point where people are like, oh, this can't be real, and the devs have to be like, oh, thank you for the compliment. No, it's real. But the fact that they were able to make people think that this is CGI as opposed to in-game goes to show what, one, next gen is able to do, and two, what this studio is able to do with the hardware. So that it just blew me away as far as how good that game looked. I know Playground Games were masters at environmental stuff, but they definitely stepped up on their character models and things along those lines. And I would like to see those same models or similar character models in Horizon games in the future. But yeah, I'm actually now looking more forward to playing Fable. But that game was a great start to the showcase, and I guess we should all look at it as, but them being that confident and starting off the showcase with that, we should have known from there it was going to be a fire showcase from that point forward. Yep. So.
And I think we did too. So that is a lot of great points for us while we wrap that up. But a lot of great points, man. Like, this showcase was the culmination of everything because we sit up here and we Monday morning quarterback all the time about what they should do after stuff happens and speculate before stuff happens. But it never really, we never really know which way it's going to go. And this is the first time where I felt like everything was in sync, man. Like, a lot of the messaging felt like they heard everything that we've been talking about. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and say we had some huge influence, but I mean, we are the reason why they do what they do. So I like to think that they took the time, and it showed that they took the time to listen. And even despite all the things that we didn't get, it was still a phenomenal showcase. And there's a whole list of stuff that normally during normal years, we're like, oh my goodness, how could they not show this or this or this or this? This year, there was none of that. There was zero. I didn't hear anybody like, oh man, we missed out on State of Decay 3 and all this Indiana Jones. And there was none of that. There was a few people, here and there, once you got to sit and think about it, right? It took you having to sit and pay attention to that to really be like, oh, we didn't see any of that. So that's the indication of a phenomenal showcase. But I know we could literally do the entire show about that, but I know there's some other stuff going on this week too. I got to get to my compadres here. So I'm going to throw this over to you, Fuzz. We'll double back here, give Pong time to get itself together. I don't want to jump to Pong this week. So
wise man.
Oh man, we didn't need that number.
Did I say that out loud?
We didn't need that. See, look now.
My bad. I said it out loud.
My goodness. Oh my god.
Again, he deserves everything he gets. He just keeps showing himself. I mean, that's safe. Hey, it's fine. No, nobody's gonna feel sorry for you, bro. That's fine.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, we'll throw this back to you, Fuzz. Where are we going this week, brother?
I know you want to talk about Armored Core 6, but I'm not prepared. So I hope, Pong, I know you're probably more versed in Armored Core, so I'll leave that maybe for you to take on. But as far as Xbox partnerships, let's see.
The people can fly.
We definitely can look at the whole Sega and Atlas and was it RG or something like that, as far as for the Yakuza stuff. But overall, I think Xbox has shown over the past couple of years, with Phil making lots of trips to Japan, a lot of the fruits of that labor starting to show. Capcom had a new IP on stage at the showcase, and I know this probably ties back right to the showcase, but there was definitely a nice mix of games from the East at this showcase, which is different than previous years, with the exception of the new one from Atlas. Most of them are going to be day and date right in Game Pass at launch, but overall, I think they're starting to make headway as far as the I guess the developers trusting Xbox or being comfortable with Xbox, with the exception of Square Enix, as far as their IP on that platform and it being able to succeed in Game Pass or just on that platform in general. Now, as far as all of the games that were shown at the showcase or ones that have been recently announced, what are some of the games that you would see or that you've seen from the East, whether it be from China, Korea, or Japan, that haven't been announced for a particular platform that you would like to see come to the Xbox platform? And I'll start with you, Retri. What's something that you've seen from a developer from the East that hasn't quite had an announcement yet on where it's going other than possibly PC?
Does Pokemon count?
I mean, if it's a new Pokemon
I'm just
title or something along those lines, it can count as well.
I don't want to steal Umbra's answer. Go ahead.
I think Steele said this. I really like this answer, and I really would like to see Black Myth Wukong come over. I've been watching that for years. I mean, so much so that when Steele mentioned it, I actually forgot about it because I had seen it such a long time ago, and it looked excellent when I saw it, I don't know, 2-3 years ago. I would like to see that come over. I think that would be a good, and it seems to me like that's an easy get just because it's such a small team. How much money could you possibly need to drop off for these guys to get them over here? You know what I mean? It's another showcase of Unreal Engine as well. So I don't know. I think that would be a pretty cool get. It's something I'm definitely interested in. I'm not a huge like fan of Eastern games, but that one caught my eye like years ago, and I've been following ever since. So I think that would be something that would be a good get for Xbox.
That's a good one,
in my opinion.
Wukong's, that's the one I would have said. To be honest with you as well too. Now I got to think about maybe a different.
Sorry.
One. No, it's fine. It's fine.
I have overlapping ones because that's one that's definitely high up on my list as well. I think it's one of those that it may have gone into silence for a bit for now, but I think it's pretty much them now putting their heads down and getting that game wrapped up so it can be announced for a platform here in the next year or so. But that one, when it showed up on the scene, it kind of broke YouTube and Twitter for a few days as far as how good that game looked. And it was trending for a good bit of time. And I know there were quite a few people probably tweeting Phil and tweeting Sarah Bond, get this game on Xbox. But I have to agree. That one is definitely one that's on my list I'd like to see. Now, Umbra, what do you want as far as a game from the East that you've either seen or maybe an existing IP that hasn't quite landed on Xbox? What would you want to see, coming to Xbox soon from that region?
Final Fantasy 16. No, I'm joking.
Man, look.
No, realistically, if I had to say a game, now we're getting Persona over here. We got Yakuza coming over regularly now, which is all great. Square is kind of that last thing we need to get.
I mean,
the pettiness in me wants Microsoft. The pettiness in me wants Microsoft to acquire them just because of that. I kid you not. I just want them to be acquired to deny Sony, just because. But no, I'm joking when I say all that. But Black Wukong, that's a good one.
Does anyone think Jet Set Radio actually exists outside of that crossover that happened?
I think
if that's a full game, that would be.
I think it does. I feel like it does.
That'd be a good one.
I think
that might just be hope. Though. I'm not gonna lie.
For a future announcement.
Yeah, I don't have no reason to think that besides my own hope. That's it. Like I don't really. I'm be 100% honest with you. You know, I mean, I know they're doing a crossover thing, here. But outside of that, I mean, they're not really using the IP. There's no licensing being done outside of that. Maybe that gives me a little bit of hope.
I thought they had mentioned that in Crazy Taxi Driver under their
the
Super Games initiative.
Oh, they did.
Like,
okay.
I thought they talked about that a long time ago, so it should exist.
They definitely did.
Going to exist.
You know, it's hard to really say because we're getting so many of these games now properly. Microsoft at least has been on it as far as getting a lot of those over. We get the Tales games, we get the Dark Souls, we get the Dragon Quests. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to say. Maybe Neo, because I think the latest one is skipping Xbox too, right?
Yeah,
that's possibly
maybe
one.
Neo, maybe well, you know, we would have had Stellar Blade as well. I don't know what happened with that. We were supposed to have that too.
You know what happened.
I'm not gonna be. Well, I mean, I'm not. You know, I know what happened. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I would guess like something like Neo. It's kind of, and we even get Monster Hunter. So it's
I was just gonna say Monster Hunter.
Yeah,
like the next one would be huge.
So that Microsoft has made strides actually. Like you have to when you actually think about it. They've made a lot of good moves already to get a lot of these Eastern major games.
Now that you brought it up, Umbra, there's not very many left, if any.
Right,
we
got World too. I mean, we got Team Ninja over here. We got Capcom over here. We got Atlas over here. We got Bandai. We got Bandai over here. Like, dude, there's not many people left.
The only holdout. I'm just being real. The only holdout is Square. That's why I said I want Microsoft. The pettiness in me wants Microsoft to, acquire them somehow. But you know what? No, I guess we get Capcom. Like we get. I don't know, man. And let me think. What's something that they have that we
Pong? You got anything, Pong? I can't think of anything, bro. I'm running dry over here. Black Myth would have been mine, but Pong, I know you pay attention to everything, so maybe I missed something.
It depends which way you guys want to go. Listen, there's been some games that have been announced that they've been said PC consoles that we don't have release dates on, but we don't know any platforms, so I could go there. Again, I've been promoting South Korea for a long time, right? And Pearl Abyss is
they got a few.
Fantastic publisher and developer. Crimson Desert has to come to Xbox. Crimson Desert was that game we saw a couple years ago, where you can ride dragons. They're the makers of Black Desert Online, right? That's
Pearl Abyss, right?
Yes, that's Pearl Abyss, correct. But Crimson Desert is the game that was supposed to be more single player focused. I believe there's some co-op to it. It's not going to be huge.
I remember that one.
That game was due. That's got to come here. A fun one is Dokkan V.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say. I literally
call
just
out with Dokkan V. I don't care what anyone says. That game is fun. I don't care.
It looks weird, wild, crazy. I love that game. I loved when we first saw it. It looks stupid, but I want to play it.
It looks stupid fun though.
Yes, the fun speculation family we were going nuts when we saw that. Like everybody thought we were joking in stream. That was like 2 years ago.
Dokkan V looks good. I think that was already coming over though. I'm pretty sure Dokkan V was already.
They haven't announced
everything, right?
They haven't announced. They haven't confirmed. Like they said PC and console.
Do you remember when we saw that? Was it Xbox?
No, the Summer Games Fest. I think
Summer Games
Fest. Yeah, 2 years ago or something.
It was Summer Games. Oh yeah, you might be right.
It was a long time ago, right? So there,
I'm so glad you guys are like down for that. I thought I was get made fun of.
It, dude. No, absolutely not.
I was like, I'm gonna be all by myself as usual on the island.
He avoided naming it just so we would make fun of him.
Through the entire
on my list.
Through the entire trailer, we were like, what the fuck is this? But we want to play it because it was like, what is going on? As far as another developer in the East that I want to see show up on Xbox, it's got to be it's got to be NIS, Nippon Ichi Software. I think it is Nippon Ichi Software. They do Disgaea. They do the Disgaea series, and they do a couple other series which are turn-based strategy tactic style games. Disgaea is a huge. It's always been on PlayStation. I would love to see NIS start putting the games on Xbox. So if we're talking about older ones and established franchises, NIS has got to get on board. They've been really, really stubborn about this and haven't brought anything over. So I'd love to see them bring some games over, but especially Disgaea series for sure.
That's really the only way I can see it if they go and get retro games. But a lot of the more modern ones, Xbox is actually getting people are not giving Microsoft enough credit. Yeah, they're actually getting a ton
and
of
because they've got great relationships now with Koei Tecmo, they got great relationship with Bandai Namco, they got great relationship with Capcom, they've obviously got a great relationship with Sega and now Atlas underneath Sega. So you're talking about most of the majors outside of Square are on board fully with Xbox. Again, Path of the Goddess showing up at the showcase was gigantic. That's this year's version of Wolong, right? That's this year's announcement, the same as Wolong was.
And
out
it
of
doesn't
the blue,
matter that
surprise.
it's on everything because it's coming to Game Pass.
That's right. And it's a brand new IP.
Correct.
I thought it was. I can't be along and thinking it was Onimusha at first.
No, we all said it.
I turned around and tapped Cog on the leg and said, "Is that Onimusha?" He said, "I think it is. I think it is."
I swear.
We thought it was Onimusha too.
Yeah. No, it's crazy, man. I guess the only thing to me, honestly, and not trying to be facetious, is that it had to be Square. Square is the only holdout. Just being real. I think of Octopath Traveler 2, which has somebody like Bushido betraying Xbox to go over to PlayStation to play it. You know what I mean? Yeah, we know you betrayed Xbox, Bushido. I just want to throw you under the bus. But like that's the only thing I can think of, and that, by the way, really pissed me off because I actually really enjoyed the first game when they brought us a Game Pass. I put 250 hours into that first game.
Did you play the other ones? The games that they've come. What are the other games that are Octopath like? They got the same art style. Eiyuden Chronicles. Did you play that?
How did they say that? You're right.
Yeah, 100 Heroes or whatever.
I mean, maybe they weren't anywhere the same as Octopath or anything. I know they kind of look similar, right?
They look similar, but they're not. They're action based.
Yeah. Exactly. The first one is action based. I'm not sure if the second one is coming out next year.
No, but we're getting that for sure. Yeah, that's gonna be action based as well. This was the prequel. The one that they released was the prequel, and the next one is gonna be the full blooded game, right? So we get both of them, which is great. Suikoden, the remakes are coming over, which is fantastic. Suikoden is an awesome old franchise, classic. So yeah, I mean, again, they do have a lot of great relationships with the East now. It's been working. There are some under the radar stuff that most people would never know. That like if you're a JRPG fan, that's why PlayStation is your home because you do get all the oddball stuff in there too. The full Tales series, we could use that here as well, right? Eventually, we've gotten some Tales, but we haven't gotten all of them. There's just stuff like that that's still missing, but overall, outside of Square, we're doing pretty good. I think they need to get the localization up, though. That's a big problem. That's going to help their inroads.
Especially in Korea, like you mentioned, this specifically.
Correct.
There's a lot of complaints about Korea. We really need to get on that.
Yeah, the localization, because like Starfield is missing a ton of Eastern localization, which is a big problem.
Did you see the list?
Yes.
The list of Starfield is not very good, in my opinion.
I understand that there's so much in
250,000 lines, right?
But
that's the
problem. Give them subtitles. Come on, give them subtitles, even if you can't do a lot of the voice and all that kind of. I understand that. That'd be a huge task. But subtitles, you got plenty of money, Microsoft.
You got to do the bare minimum.
Exactly. Get that done.
Yeah, for it's Eiyuden, right? Eiyuden. Yeah, Eiyuden Chronicle. What was that one I just thought of? I had it right at the top of my head and it slipped right out. It's hard to say, like I said, Fuzzy, because again, Microsoft has made so many good strides in grabbing a lot of these Eastern developers and bringing them into the fold. And we have already heard about them helping like 200 plus Asian developers to get.
Yeah, we saw that. Yep.
Yeah.
Indie devs.
Indie devs. Yep.
So it's kind of tough to really say.
That's why we get stuff like Eastern Exorcist. Like we've gotten a ton of those games like into Game Pass. Like people are just kind of not.
That still
really
wakes the deep or whatever that is that they showed at the.
You know what I would say?
That's
I would
right.
throw
That's a Chinese developer.
I would throw a screwball and say, and because I'm kind of on this ARPG kick right now, I would love for them somehow to work out a deal with Amazon Games to bring over Lost Ark. That's a Korean.
That would actually be pretty cool.
Yeah. Bring Lost Ark into Game Pass day and date.
Was big.
Well, not day and date.
It was big
to consoles day and date
was
because it's not on consoles yet. So bring that over and have that mapped out for the controller. Lost Ark, I'm going to be honest with you. As much as I'm loving Diablo, as we call it, Lost Ark has some of the prettiest attacks in any ARPG by far, and it doesn't have nearly. I doubt it has nearly a tenth of the budget that Diablo has. If you doubt me, look up some gameplay footage of Lost Ark and
I've seen it. I watch people stream it. Yeah,
insane. The visuals on what you can do with those attacks in the different classes. So something like that, bring that. If that could get brought over, I would be pretty happy. They'd have to get rid of that. It's not pay to win, because typically pay to win is when you're getting over on another human. So that's not that. It's more I guess pay to advance. I guess is this way to kind of say it. Is to get rid of those nasty tactics in it and just give us a full game, everything taken care of. Give us all the skins or whatever else you need to get day and date, and you know what? And that's a good one too. But I don't think that's Eastern though. Decado, Last Epoch. That's a decent one, but I don't think that's from our Eastern brothers.
No,
I don't think it is. But Lost Ark, get that over to the Game Pass or to Xbox in general, day and date on consoles. When I say that, I think that would be pretty major for me at least.
Another game we missed. I believe this is isn't this a Chinese developer or Eastern? The Final Descent game, right? Isn't that?
Yes.
The one we saw at the extended showcase? Is that aren't they Eastern?
Is that coming up?
Yeah, that's confirmed to us. Yeah.
Okay, but not Game Pass though, right? That's just
no.
Game
but,
Pass, no.
As far as we know, yeah. But either way, what I'm saying is that like these are the type of games that like we're starting to see more and more on Xbox, right? Like they're actually starting to. We saw Final Descent, but I didn't think it would show up again at the extended showcase. You know what I mean? So it's kind of nice that we're seeing stuff like that, but. Yeah, Fuzz, that would probably be. I couldn't think of anything. They gave some great examples though.
Yeah, it's free to play, like Spider-Man said. So
free
to play. For sure.
It's the first Descendant is the one you're thinking.
The first Descendant.
I knew that didn't sound right to me. I was like,
okay, now I know.
First Descendant. I'm sorry.
Descendant. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the You Against the Aliens game.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but I don't know if you were done, Fuzz. I don't know if you.
I think the only other one that we haven't mentioned, and I don't remember seeing it coming to Xbox. I think it's coming to PlayStation. It's from the developer that does Genshin Impact, and I think they had like almost like a Robotech one or something.
Are you talking about Star
Rail?
Rail?
Is that what that is, Paul?
Yeah, it probably was Star Rail. I think that was
Honkai Star Rail.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is not coming to Xbox.
I think that's like one of the few ones because it has like a Robotech, or at least it has like mechs in it to some extent. I think for some of the weapons and some of the suits and stuff. But that's like one of the only ones. And Neo is another one that I would really love for it to come to Xbox. But Black Myth Wukong, I think I'm pretty sure there's probably a bidding war between PlayStation and Xbox right now as far as who gets that one. If PlayStation gets it, we know it's going to be exclusive. If Xbox gets it, I know that they're just mainly looking to get it in Game Pass as opposed to making it exclusive. But I would love for it to come to the platform. But man, good answers, guys. I kind of came up with that on the fly, but it's an area that we've seen more advancement with Xbox over these past few years.
Mm-hmm.
And we always joked about all the trips that Sarah Bond and Phil were taking over to Japan, and now we're actually enjoying the fruits of their labor. So,
and you're right, Fuzzy. They just got it. The ones that hurt are the ones that like Stellar Blade, right? They can't let that happen anymore.
Yeah,
those are still the misses, right?
Yeah,
those are the ones they still got to kind of iron out and make sure that they're in line
at
least.
Fantasy stuff, I don't know if they're ever get that Final Fantasy. We may never see all of that. Like
not unless they buy them.
Yeah, right, unless they buy them.
just short
that's why I said, hey, I'm not sounding so crazy after all, huh?
Well, no, it's funny that you say that because it was one of those things where the fact that Sony hasn't bought Square at this point, and their stock value is pretty cheap, so it should be fairly easy, even with the limited funds that they have in comparison. But it's almost like they figure, well, we don't need to buy the cow if we're already getting the milk for free, kind of thing. And that's where Xbox should come in there and be like, hey, now you have to make the games for us.
Sure would be a shame if Microsoft came and gave them some freedom
You in the back alley deals, bro.
Xbox needs to get freed up from this ABK. This ABK deal needs to get done because Embracer Group, my man Lars is in trouble.
They trimming him down. They trimming him down.
Off more than they can chew.
Phil needs to step in and save some studios. And
you don't really need Crystal Dynamic over there, do you? No, you don't really need them doing anything over there.
I made a tweet speaking of that, Pong, where I said, sure would be a shame if Microsoft came by to free some of those studios they recently acquired from them. That's exactly what I want to happen. It almost seems like Destiny, doesn't it, Pong?
It kind of does. It's kind of all playing. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Let's get the ABK deal through, and then we'll move on. But
get out of the way, ABK. Come on.
Next week, maybe we'll get some.
It's on you, Pong. Where we going, Pong?
Well, I know Fuzzy brought up Armored Core, and I take it there, but actually, I'm going to bring up another game that came up this week, and it was at the showcase as well. Fuzzy mentioned it earlier, but I think it deserves the limelight because this came out of nowhere. We had heard rumblings and heard some smoke, but we didn't know what was going to show up. And of course, I'm talking about Star Wars Outlaws. I got to talk about this game. Star Wars Outlaws from Massive. Again, those of us on this panel that are huge Division fans, obviously, we would love Division 3. Massive is working on Avatar, and then they were working on another game, which was rumored to be a Star Wars game. And then, we just didn't know what it was going to be like. Everything that I could have asked for from a Star Wars game in this Disney-fied era, which I hate, actually showed up and showed out on this game, right? Shout out to Yves for calling it Star Wars Outlook, by the way. Great look there for you, buddy.
He did, didn't he?
You're so in touch. You're so in touch with your company. It's just amazing. Get him off the freaking stage. Oh, my God. Like I said, do a fake show afterwards and pretend that you're still live and let him talk because, my God. I can't stand it. Anyways, we've given Ubisoft a lot of flack, obviously, but this game here and Massive with the Snowdrop engine showing up with a huge IP like Star Wars, taking it back to a time between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Thank you so much. So many Star Wars games wants to avoid that whole era. Massive is diving right into my favorite era, obviously, as being an old guy. This is, when I saw the Stormtrooper helmets, I freaked out. Like, that's exactly what I want to see. But seriously, from top to bottom, I was thoroughly impressed. I am sold on this game, but I want to hear your guys' takes, obviously. I want to hear the brothers' takes here. So let's start with Infinite. Let's get Mr. Ego out of the way so everybody else can have some time. Listen, Umbra, listen, brother, I don't know where you stand on this. That's why I'm so curious about it because, again, the sentiment overall that I've been hearing is that everybody's loving what they're seeing. So break it down for me. What caught your eye in this? Are you on board? Are you hyped for this game? And what do you think it turns out like, hopefully next year? I think we probably see this next year. But Star Wars Outlaws, what it do for you, sir?
It did a lot. I mean, when we saw it pop up in the Xbox conference, at first, Massive, it's crazy how your mind works because Massive, the words Massive was the first thing to pop up on the screen. But I think I was too busy losing my mind still to Fable that I didn't notice that. And so when I heard the music finally, I was like, whoa, is this that leaked list? Was it right? Is this, ESO team making Star Wars? That was my first thought. So I was kind of bugging out a little bit, but then I saw, I came to my senses. I'm like, oh no, this is from Ubisoft. And they didn't show us anything there, but then we saw it at the Ubisoft conference, and I was like, wow, all of us were in a watch party again, me, Jedi Knight Peter, and a few of other friends. Yep. And man, I was actually really hopeful that this looked right. It has the team, like you said, with the developers, of behind the Division, which I love as well. So the gunplay is going to be solid. So I was watching, man, and I was like, let's see how this looks. And it showed her standing out in that like field and whatever, looking out into the distance. And I'm like, those are the visuals. And then it actually zoomed in from the conference view into the actual view of the game. And I was like, wow. All of us were like, wow, it looks beautiful. And that's the Snowdrop engine, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Man, we gotta put some respect on the Snowdrop, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
my favorite engine.
Real good,
man. It looks really
Avatar
good. Avatar
and Star Wars look phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I was not blown away by Avatar, but I'll get into another time.
Correct.
I suppose.
Correct.
I wasn't
Correct.
either.
I do
Yeah, that's a
agree.
whole
I
other
do agree.
conversation.
I do
Yeah,
agree.
I'm the
Yep.
same way. Yeah.
But no, I saw this, and then we were introduced to Kay Vess,
Yes.
and I'm just like, I'm loving everything about it because, like you said, it's set in between the Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So you see her and you see her hairstyle and everything like that. And instantly you're like, yeah, they're going for that 70s aesthetic with the hairstyle and all of that. You see the little jean jacket. Spider-Man, take that back. I just saw what you wrote in the chat. And, you and then we're treated to her droid and everything and that little her little animal that was with her. I forgot the name of it.
Nix.
Her little pet, Nix.
Nix.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I hate about it. But anyways, continue.
I wonder how it's going to play out. I know you get you get the option for your blaster and with Nix to do little things.
Yep.
So I wonder how in depth it'll be. I hope it's not just for him as a distraction. I hope it's or her as a distraction. I hope it's more than that. But whatever that thing is. Did I just give it pronouns?
I know, right? Holy shit.
Right. But just blown away. I thought the visuals were really good. Now I did have frame drops, but listen, this is early. So I'm not I'm not bothered by that at all.
No.
I just thought the world looked really good. I like the time period they put it in. Like you said, seeing the stormtroopers and everything, you're like, yeah, this is Star Wars. The music was solid. Seeing them take off into space the way they did, I'm like, wow. And you know what my immediate thought was?
What?
Wait until our Hoove brothers get a hold of this and use it against Starfield. And
They
did it immediately.
Some posts.
Of
I've
course,
already seen
of
some
course.
posts. Yeah.
Even though that's
I
a full
knew it.
loading screen, by the way.
See,
absolutely. It's
I
like
knew it.
you can do the same thing in Destiny. I've been flying in and out of Destiny for 6-7 years now. Like, what are you talking about?
I knew it was going to happen immediately. I was like, wow, I can't even be fully enjoying this thing because I know what they're about to do on
That's
Twitter.
all right. That's all
right.
But
just really liked what I saw. The gunplay was solid. The blaster noises sounded good. Everything looked and sounded well to me. I wonder if it's just you kind of. I hope it's not you kind of just kind of sneaking around.
Thank you, Umbra.
They said it's
one
they said
negative
it's
about
not.
this.
They said it's not, and they said that it's not going to be a bunch of heists. It is going to lead up to one big heist, but it's not going to be all sneaking around, thievery. Right. It's not going to be all that. That's what they said already.
Okay, and they did say something like strange when they said it's the first open world. I'm like, what? No, it's not. Like clearly we've had the Lego games. Those are open world, and also to me, Jedi Survivor. If you get it to those planets are open. Those are some big worlds.
But Umbra, to that point. Why are they saying that? Are they saying like you are going to have a really giant open world versus those games? You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's why they're describing it that way. Because Survivor, sure, you can call it. I would call it semi-open world.
I definitely wouldn't call that open world in my opinion. I think that's very linear, but
But again, maybe they're so confident in that, Umbra, because they are going to give us like a wide open kind of expanse, right? Yeah, and I would love to see that. That would be
if you look at their pedigree, right? They make the division, right? That's a semi. It's an open world kind of game. You got one big map.
And we saw she's got a speeder bike, right? So she is going to be traveling big distances, right? So maybe that's the case.
That's true. I guess. I mean, I guess you can reason out that Jedi Survivor is semi, but that gigantic planet you're on, I forgot the name of it right now, but you all know what I'm talking about. It's the more or less the hub world that you get on there. That is one of the biggest maps I've ever played in any game. So it's kind of hard for me to call that semi-open. Like that's a gigantic open map. But either way, like we saw like the blaster, they had the focus, you had the stun. Like I liked everything about it what I saw. I'm just excited for it, and I'm hoping it lands well. And this is just to say, like, this is the way I want Ubisoft to move. I thought that what they showed here, outside of Avatar, whatever.
Jeez, am I the only one who liked Avatar? I guess I
saw some other people like it.
There's some other people that liked it, but
it looks good.
Yeah.
It didn't do it for me.
I think it's the wrong time for it. At least for me, it would have been better if they released it like 2 or 3 years ago or something.
And maybe around the time when the movie launched too, maybe or something, right? But for me, I don't know. I just didn't think it landed with me, Will. And anybody in the party, really, all of us were kind of like, eh. And I think visually it just looked weird. It looked kind of like a At one point,
Steele said it was something off about it. He said that they looked like the crack versions of the Na'vi, right? the crackhead versions. I call them the Dollar Tree versions, right? There was just something. There was points where it looked really good and the snowdrop was shining, but then there was other parts where it was like, yeah, this needs to cook for longer, man. This really needs, it was
exactly.
Weird.
That's I agree with that because it were, like you said, there were points where I was like, okay, that looks nice. Then it was like other times I was like, nah, not right there, done. So, but in general, I didn't think the conference was good, but I thought that seeing the direction they were going was good. So we saw Prince of Persia, which was like, yes, I'm getting that day one. That looks excellent. We saw.
Dude, why everybody hating on that?
I don't know. Yeah, it's
Stupid
ridiculous.
Hate
Yeah, it's
dumb.
silly.
Because it's
cool
not
to
a
hate
AAA,
Ubisoft.
because it's not a platformer.
Yeah,
I mean it is. Look. Dude,
And they
I
said
trash on
we're-
Ubisoft forever, and I agree with Umbra. Like the direction they're going, like Star
Some of
Wars,
it.
Prince of Persia, for me, Avatar,
Skull and Bones.
some of the direction. Yeah,
Oh my
well,
goodness. What?
the game
What?
that will
Almost-
never be
almost
seen
everywhere they
by our
go.
eyeballs.
Eves don't know
Like
what that is.
even Mirage. Like I know they're doing Assassin's Creed. It's like Assassin's Creed annoys the crap out of me. It's too much, but. Even like the direction you're going with Mirage being more linear, like
absolutely.
I'm actually starting to turn my page a
Man.
little bit on Ubisoft a little bit because I've been trashing on them forever. I didn't want Xbox to touch them, but I'm kind of liking the direction that they're going in now.
So, So
with-
I gotta let you know, Pong bought stocks in Ubisoft not that long ago.
No, I did not.
No. Listen, let me finish. Pong purchased stocks in Ubisoft. He tried to convince me and Fuzz on air to go purchase stocks in Ubisoft. Me and Fuzz refused. Okay, we refused. So we don't want to touch Eves or anything that got anything to do with Eves. But I do have to say, Pong, I'm softening up a little bit.
You're talking about our confidence.
Position.
What company we had the most confidence in, and I surprisingly took Ubisoft.
You took Ubisoft,
Yes, I did.
I'm softening just a little bit. So we'll see. I'm gonna give you your credit though for taking them stocks early while they were low.
Yeah, like I say, I think they're going in the right direction, and I hope they continue to bring back. Seeing Prince of Persia come back like this, because the last time we saw it, what was it, Sands of Time? I forgot what it was, but like it just wasn't looking good. The remake or whatever they were doing, it just wasn't looking good. So to see this team that the Rayman games and such come out and do this, I think the game is in good hands, and it's not the Prince, himself. But it's other people that's coming to rescue the Prince. I just think
they say you're getting that later anyway, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
this is a different game. This is a different game.
So,
exactly. This is this whole side thing to it. I thought it looked really good. It's a Metroidvania, which I love Metroidvanias, especially really good ones. The Oris and such. So I hope that it's going to be really good. I think everything we saw had a lot of promise, and even things that I wasn't fully confident in has time to correct itself. So I'm liking which way they're going with it right now. And one thing I will say is that I did hope to see something with Splinter Cell, but I guess it is really, really early.
It is.
Yeah. So by the next time we actually see it, hey, let's hope that maybe it pops up at Microsoft's event or something like that with some type of exclusivity or something like that. I would love that. But yeah, I am excited for that reason.
Good.
But yeah, man, I thought Star Wars looked excellent. I hope that it lands well. Here's to hoping. Good luck to Massive and to Ubisoft.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. And now that Umbra's done, everybody else is on the panel, got 30 seconds each, so let's go. Richie! 30 seconds, go. Star Wars Outlaws. What's your attention?
I concur with everything Umbra said.
Perfect. Next.
Done.
All right, let's go. Go ahead, Richie. Go ahead, man. You like what you see?
I'm really liking. Like I said, I'm backing up Ubisoft here, which is not me a month ago. I would say, when we were talking about acquisitions, I said, stay the F away from this company. I don't want to touch them with a 10-foot pole. I'm still saying that because there's just too many damn employees, but I'm liking some of the things that they're doing. I'm a little surprised. I actually thought Avatar looked good. The world itself, I thought was beautiful. I'm impressed with the Snowdrop engine personally. I thought it looked really good in Star Wars as well. I can see the Na'vi. I love it looks like they're on crack. That's funny. That I can see. But I think the world itself, I think, is very beautiful in Avatar. Right, so I was pretty impressed. Star Wars obviously looks great. I love that it's going to be quote unquote the first open world. I know saying that was a little weird. I do like that. I really enjoy like the speeder bike scene. I thought was really cool, especially when she like locked on to them like in front of her, and then she pulls out her pistol and just nails them both. I thought that was really cool. The dog fighting in space. That's what I was like, okay, let's see what it looks like. And then they got into it. I was like, okay, this looks cool. Like, there's not a lot of space combat that I think is done well. And I always go back to the game that was on Game Pass. I don't know, I think it was last year. Chorus. I thought they really nailed
one of the
dog
best
fights in
games
space
ever. Yes,
absolutely. Yes. So it kind of reminded me of that. So I was like, okay, Ubisoft, like, all right, like that looks pretty damn good. I was also worried. It's funny that Umber brought up the stealth thing, because I literally wrote down, oh, damn it, this better not be a stealth game. I hope it's not a stealth game. Please don't be a stealth game, because that got me a little worried. But you're saying it's not going to be that, so that makes me happy. Again, Prince of Persia, I think a lot of people just wanted a AAA version of Prince of Persia, something that was 3D based, not 2.5D platformer or whatever. But I'm with, I think, majority of people that I've talked to. Prince of Persia to me looks amazing. Like it's kind of giving me like Ori vibes. From the makers
of Rayman from the beginning, and everybody.
Yeah, Rayman's great, and I think that's another game that a ton of people just did not play. Like Rayman is so good. So for me, like Ubisoft's I think even X Defiant, I know that gets a lot of shit. I think that looks great. I think that is another game that could, I don't think it's going to hurt Call of Duty or anything, but it looks like it plays like it. And I can tell you right now, they're putting a lot of content out for that game, like off the rip. So there's going to be a lot of like, multiplayer in future. I mean, they were saying like 14 maps and then another 12 maps are coming after that. Like that's a crazy amount of maps, and just, they get the factions and all the weapons. I mean, that's something that, hey, maybe 343 might want to learn a thing or two from, just saying. Right. But honestly, like if we're, comparing these different things, to me, the Ubisoft after Microsoft, I think Ubisoft might have been my second favorite show, because I can tell you right now, Capcom shit the bed, in my opinion. That was just freaking terrible. I was literally swearing in my notes.
It should have been a blog.
It was easy. Awful.
It was strikingly mid.
Path of the Goddess, already seen it. They showed Street Fighter, seen it. Resident Evil, seen it. Pragmata, seen it. Exoprino, seen it. Dragon's Dogma, seen it. What the fuck did they show?
You starting to sound like Simpsons did it.
Yeah.
Simpsons did it.
Oh my god! I don't know. That was just
that's all right.
Awful.
Motorfest is going to kill Forza, so I heard that.
Motorfest because it doesn't move the needle.
It was awful. Great thoughts, Retri. You kind of went into the whole Ubisoft lineup, and I like it.
Sorry about that.
No, it's great. Umbra took everything else, so whatever. Listen,
listen. When you have such great things
great
to
thoughts,
say, it's hard to hold that in.
Pen to paper, you're just gonna put it out there for the public to hear it.
Yeah. Especially when you're your own judge, right? And you just give yourself 10s across the board. It's amazing.
He called you the CMA, Umbra. That's what he called.
That's pretty much it.
Oh man.
Oh, let's go to PTK. So PTK, Star Wars Outlaws. I'm going to wrap some of my thoughts in here so we can get the show going too, while I talk to you about this too. So Star Wars Outlaws, what I saw was a lot of Han Solo, and I loved it. Like I don't mind callbacks as long as you're not directly copying everything, which Disney has done with Star Wars in a lot of ways. They think that just redoing the old movies is going to make great movies, and it doesn't work that way a lot of times.
There was that who's going to shoot first scene.
Right, correct.
Which I was okay with. I was okay with because I actually enjoyed it.
Yes, and it wasn't the whole thing, but putting her in those situations, right, PTK, where she seems to have that edge. And again, I talk about this too, where it's not all... most of the time people make games when it comes to Star Wars in the light side of things. I like when you walk the gray or you go into the dark side.
Yeah, absolutely.
She is obviously gray, right? She was forced into a position where she had to survive, and she wound up finding out that she was good at doing some of the seedier things in the Star Wars universe, right? And so she's embraced it, and I love that fact. And the Han Solo quick-wittedness, again, shout out to the voice actress who is doing her, Kay. Shout out to the look of Kay, the designer. I just love everything about this. So for you, PTK, what did you take out of Star Wars Outlaws? You know, whether it was the initial trailer we got at the Xbox, which was all CGI, but was very Star Warsy, right?
Yeah,
very Star Warsy. Or to the gameplay that we saw at the Ubisoft Forward. What really caught your attention with this one? And are you that hyped? Are you day one on this right now?
So I want to give first. I'm gonna give Ubisoft a little bit of credit.
Yes.
Right. Overall. Yes. Right. They did have a better showcase than the majority of the ones that we saw. I would put theirs as well, right behind Xbox. I don't know about right behind in score, but just right behind is the second best showcase.
Right. Yeah. Second best
this summer. Yeah. In my opinion.
Minus the anime cringe thing, whatever that guy was, whatever that dude was up there. Wow.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
But for me, the first thing I noticed, the visuals. The visuals, striking visuals, took me straight back to a familiar place. That's what I got right off the bat. The costume, the hair from that era, the way the bots. It was familiar yet new at the same time, and that's what I want to see from Star Wars. That's the kind of feeling that I get when I think of Star Wars. So it was good to get that from a Star Wars game. A lot of times, these newer ones feel a bit hollow. You know what I mean? There are different stories, different storylines. You don't feel as connected. So this one is kind of nice. It's a different story because God forbid Star Wars has this gigantic universe that nobody wants to tell any other stories about it. Yep. So outside it's nice outside of Jedi and what Grogu and everybody else is doing for the 1,000th time. You know what I mean? Like we know those stories. Let's dive into the other parts of the universe, right? Let's see what other people are doing. That's what makes Star Wars Star Wars. So it's nice to see that as well. The gameplay did not surprise me. I know what Massive is capable of. It does piss me off that they're letting the Division die, unfortunately.
Correct.
But I understand, right? This game looks amazing. It should be amazing. I hope it's well worth it, right? Because you're sad. I feel like the meme that you look at my son. That what is it? What is that meme or whatever?
Oh, at the pool.
Yeah. Well, I'm watching this, looking at Division 2 on my hard drive, like, oh man, it's terrible what they've done. I'm sorry, but at the same time, I'm excited because the game looks phenomenal. The gunplay looked great. I was kind of worried that it was a bit stealthy. I'm not gonna lie. I had that reservation.
Yes.
I said that. I'm like, this looks a bit stealth heavy. That's not really what but Massive does anyway, but it looked quite a bit stealthy. So it's good to see that we're gonna have this huge progressive world that we're gonna be able to play around in. Going to use vehicles. That's all up my alley. I doubt there's going to be any kind of co-op, anything like that going on. It seems like a true single player story.
Correct.
So that's fine. I like it. Focus Ubi. Stop trying to do too many things. Stop trying to juggle too many balls, so to speak, right? Stop trying to juggle, right? Anyway, right? So just focus on something because they tend to be squirrely with their games, unfortunately, and we pay the price for that as consumers. You get a bunch of BS. You get the good Beyond Good and Evils, and you get the Skull and Bones because they're squirrely. They don't focus on.
You ain't getting Skull and Bones. Nobody's.
Well, what I mean is, nobody's getting. That's the point, right? Like nobody's getting it. That's the whole point. So I like a Focus Ubi. I like this Focus Ubi. I even like X Defiant, like you were saying, Retchery. They may have something there. It remains to be seen. That competitive shooter space is really hard to carve out.
Yeah.
So maybe they have something there. Maybe it's just different enough to get some of those Call of Duty guys on there, to switch over for a little while before Call of Duty changes seasons again. Because they're gonna come back once the season updates. But so I like a Focus Ubi. I don't like a squirrely Ubi. So it's kind of nice seeing them focus. And the game that Massive showed is a culmination. That and Assassin's Creed is a culmination of what Ubi could and should be all the time. Yeah.
Absolutely. Great thoughts. And I totally agree. Again, that's why I said when we had that vote of confidence, I can't remember who the other devs were or publishers were, but
it was a few. I can't remember.
Yeah, but that's why I gave it to Ubisoft, and I pointed out the Assassin's Creed franchise is in good hands, and we're seeing that, and because Massive is still there, and I think that Massive can do games outside of Division, even though I want Division 3, and we've talked about that. Again, what they're doing with that is just stupid because they had everything that they've ever wanted in a game with the Division, and they let it all fall apart. But Massive is still so talented, and the Snowdrop engine is such a fantastic piece of a tool for that team, and they're really showing it off with Star Wars Outlaws, and I love it. Fuzzy, let's get to you, brother, and let's wrap this up. Again, everything to me screams Star Wars in all the right ways with this game, at least what we've seen so far, and really being able to take off and be able to get into space and have space battles on top of going to different planets. Like, I'm so excited to see what more is out there, because when we heard the rumors about this game, it was kind of like, hey, you're going to traverse the universe. Like, there's going to be lots of places to go, and it seems like that's turning out to be true. And I want to see more, but everything was hitting the right notes as an old Star Wars fan. But for you, Fuzzy, when you watch this, the cinematic CGI trailer and then the gameplay later on at the Ubisoft Forward, really what grabbed your attention here, and are you excited like we are for this game here?
Definitely excited, but I guess excited and torn at the same time, just being the Division fan that I am.
Yes,
because as awesome as this game looked, I know that would be what, Division 3 can have. Not that same aesthetic, obviously, but the same beautiful Snowdrop engine.
Hey, Star Wars Division game, I'm in. Fuzz, let's go.
But this game showed up in a great way. And I'm fine with the cutesy sidekick. I know that's like a pet peeve for you, but Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order, at least from a robot standpoint, it's okay, because they can be useful for finding some of the collectibles and stuff. But outside of that, as far as the overall game, I'm wondering how large of a universe this is going to be. Right. Like, is this going to be like, let's say with Jedi Survivor, I think it's 5 planets, but they've gone a lot bigger in comparison to Fallen Order, where that was like, I think 8 or 9 planets, but they were, a little bit smaller in size compared to the new one. But it's great to see a non-EA, Star Wars game out there, and to see it from a different studio standpoint with an awesome engine being in use. But I wasn't as worried about the stealth mechanic aspect of it, because it seems like you can try it if you want, and I always try it for a little bit until I get seen, and then it's go loud, and it looks like that's still a viable option. So that part looked like it's fun. The explosions, like I watched ACG's like the walk, where he did like a slow-mo of some of the explosions while they're shooting at you and they hit the barrels and stuff, how the level of detail of that in that environment. I'm hoping they don't scale that back, but that looked awesome in itself. But the speeder bike aspect, because of it being a bigger open world, I guess it's going to be nice to have some sort of mode of transportation as opposed to having to walk everywhere type of deal. But the look, the gunplay. I mean, we knew the gunplay was going to be pretty good, much on point, and it's great that they got the audio down as well. But this is massive. I would say in my opinion, they've always been Ubisoft's best studio, and it shows. Now, maybe not as much with Avatar, but I mean, still a beautiful world. That Snowdrop engine is awesome. And I can't wait to play this game. It's just a matter of, I don't know if this is going to be 2024 or possibly 2025. I'm hoping it's not going to be like a Beyond Good and Evil where, Yves starts mixing up in the background and messing with things and wind up having a delay on this game. But I think from what we've seen so far, everything on ground to the space combat, it's hard. It seems like a lot of games have a hard time doing both. And it looks like they've got this on point as far as combat in space and combat on ground. So looking forward to it. Hoping we get this within the next 2 years, but Yeah,
Well, they
I
said
was surprised to see it.
2024, right? Or you just think it might be delayed until 2025?
I'm thinking 2025. Ubisoft has been delaying a lot of stuff. Like they've yet to really release a game as of late, it seems. But I mean, no, they've released some of their smaller titles, but it just seems like right now. I was joking in the DMs, and I don't mean to be mean about it, but it was like I hope this game is released before Ubisoft goes under, kind of thing, because it just seems like that was the path that they were kind of on. And I think this is the game that could possibly save them. I just hope that they release it in tip-top shape and not try to rush it before the doors close, kind of thing.
I agree with you there, Fuzzy. I think they need to handle this with the most careful gloves that they can, because it's Star Wars. You do not want to fumble that bag from Disney. Yeah. And I would say, they did say, I think quarter, what they say, fiscal year 2025. So that could be late 2024 into 25.
Yeah,
so it's possible.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable time frame for this game. But overall, the look, a little bit of frame drops, but it's like this is like a vertical slice. When they get to the optimization aspect of it, I'm pretty sure this thing will be smooth. I mean, looking at the Division, I would have to believe, although the early days of the Division last gen, you run into invisible walls if you travel too fast. So I hope they don't have that, but they've gotten that resolved with Division 2 on current gen. So I would have to believe that this is going to be pretty much buttery smooth traveling, long distances on a speeder bike and stuff like that. But the look was awesome. Can't wait to play this game. Hopefully Ubisoft kind of gets back on the horse and starts releasing games again. And I'm hoping this is one within the next, year and a half or so. So we'll see.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
You just got to wait 6 months. You get
exactly
Persia game.
Well, no, that one, that game did look awesome. And I know there was a lot of people giving hate on that one, but it's the same thing that happened with what do you call it, Phoenix Rising kind of thing. So it's like they have these gems sometimes. Sometimes they're lifted from other IPs in the sense, or have that similar direction kind of thing, but they've released some gems in the past, but it seems like ever since Skull and Bones, and they were like, oh yeah, we're going to release it in October, and October came and went, and it keeps on getting delayed, and then they put it through beta testing again and again, and it seems like it does worse each time. No, I do not have an NDA, Ubisoft. You can fight me on it if you want. But it just seems like it's one of those things where they have a good thing, and then it's like I always blame Yves for it. It's like he sits on it and is like, well, let's think about this, or let's add microtransactions to it, or do something to screw it up, and then it winds up, falling apart at the finish line.
That South Park episode. Hey, you're working on it, and it's gone.
Yep, exactly. And they said with the speeder bikes, you're gonna be able to do tricks and stuff too, so that should keep.
Oh, nice.
Well. So it'll be kind of fun. There's gonna be a lot of stuff to this. I'll just wrap it up with this. As far as the business side of things go, this was a great get for Xbox. This was what we talked about, getting that pop culture IP associated with your brand. It doesn't have to be exclusive. Just having it up on your stage and having the first showing, and then having those marketing rights. We saw what it did with Hogwarts Legacy, for Sony. And this is what we've been saying that Xbox has been missing for a while now. And again, it's the business side of things. It means nothing to us as gamers. I understand some of you don't care out there about this, but I was shocked and pleasantly surprised when this was on the Xbox stage. I was like, yes, this is something that shows that you guys are out here and you understand that this is what you need to do. Again, those pop culture IP, they mean something. They really, really do. And to have Star Wars, a game like this that now has hype building for it because it showed so well, that's going to carry a lot of weight come next year or 2025 when this game does eventually launch. So great Great move by Xbox, but great thoughts, brothers. Happy to hear all of you are excited for this game like I am. Can't wait. Ubisoft is showing some signs of life, so that's always a good thing.
About time.
Yes.
And I want to throw a little bit of love to Johnny Silverhand as well too, because that was a great. I mean, I know they've already been associated with Cyberpunk anyway, but they got the ass in. They got the short end of the stick the first time around. I hope this pays off. I feel like it's going to pay off in the long run with Cyberpunk, because that's going to turning into the game that everybody thought we were getting in the first place. So
they're giving a massive overhaul. The entire game is getting overhauled. People who have not played Cyberpunk are going to be able to go back to this and enjoy it in a totally different way than we did, even though it's one of my goats already. And us, those that want to go back to it again to play this DLC, we're going to enjoy a whole brand new experience. Right, exactly. The builds are going to be completely different this time around. This is awesome. CDPR are continuously to work on this game. I know we were supposed to get more than one DLC. We were supposed to get multiplayer. That didn't happen, but at the end of the day, they're already got a team together to start working on Cyberpunk 2077 #2. Guys, we could be looking at Elder Scrolls 6 and Cyberpunk 2077 #2 to start next gen. How good is that going to be,
Can
folks?
you imagine?
Oh, boy.
Awesome. But let me get to you before we wrap the show up. I got a couple super chats I want to get to, because I want to promise that I do these. So the super chat, we got a $2 super chat here from Sir Man, said the best Xbox E3 was the year of the backward compat. That I believe that was one of the ones you said, Umbra, 18, 19, one of those years. And we got another super chat from Splendiferous, that PTK panel. What's goody, man? I mess with y'all, man. Mess with you too. Shout out to you, Splen. Then he threw us another one. Hold on 1 second here. Another quick $2 super chat. He said, I finally know what Fuzzy looked like. You had me fooled. So the cat is out the bag, Fuzz. Cat is out the bag, bro. Nice. So no
Wait,
more.
When did you see Fuzzy though?
He was on Xbox Ultimate last night.
Friday. Last night.
Yeah, he went on camera for the first time.
Wait, was that you with the glasses on, Fuzzy?
Yeah, that was him. Yeah.
You know what? I looked and then went to play some Diablo after I gave y'all a shout out. And I didn't notice that was you. I didn't know that was you.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was the one with the barking cat.
Cat back there sounded like DMX.
I know, right? Crazy. What the hell you feeding that cat, Fuzz? Jesus Christ. No, but shout out to you, man. But no, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show. I wanted to get the super chats, man. It's been a great week back, man. It feels familiar. It feels good. I love this space, man. I'm glad to be back. So much good energy coming from Xbox and gamers in general, man. I don't want people to lose sight of that. I get we're Xbox centric here at the shop, but at the end of the day, we all eating good, man. There's so much to look forward to. Paul's gonna get into his spiel. You're gonna hear about the greatness of the gaming and the golden age of gaming. But we'll go around the panel first. I want to give some quick shout outs to my guests here, because they're always amazing. So we'll start with you, Retri, man. Thank you again, brother, for hanging out with us, bro. Appreciate you coming on, and especially it's a big week coming off to showcase so much good energy. So I wanted to make sure I had some really good positive people here, man. So shout out to you, but let everybody know all the other particulars.
Yeah, you guys can follow me on the Twitters. It's Game Pass _daily or Game Pass Daily on YouTube, where I do everything about Game Pass, obviously. And every Sunday, tomorrow, actually, Gamers Council with Web Dave, where we'll have PTK Bland with us, post up.
Yes.
Doom Cutie is going to be a good show. We'll be talking about ABK. We're going to be talking about all the shows, who did it right, who did it not so right, Capcom. Anyways, and Xbox Factor Podcast Tuesdays with Danny, Boom, and this guy over here who, likes to put do not disturb. I'm playing Diablo. Nobody talk to me. I had to give him flack about that last night, but it's all good, brother. Yeah, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it. I love this show.
Not a problem, man. Not a problem, man. Shout out to you for coming on. Chat, you know what to do. You run to that section down there, that description, and go follow Retri and everything he has going on at Game Pass Daily, bro. You're a star. Appreciate you hanging out with us, man. You're always welcome on the show. You already know that, but want to make sure we reiterate that, bro. Always glad to have you here. It's always fun, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Mr. UE3, I'm not even gonna call you Umber anymore. Just Mr. UE3. Shout out to you, man. You're a character, bro. I love you so much, man. Your energy, man. Every time I get you on here when you have time,
that's
man,
enough. That's enough.
No. Let him keep going. Keep going. More superlatives.
Too much, man. See the ego clash, man. I don't know if I'll be able to deal with that. But no. But shout out to you, man. But let everybody know where they can find your details and what you got going on, brother.
Man, it's always a treat to come here. One of my sayings was, it's always a treat when gamers meet. You know what I mean? And it's fun always coming to talk with you guys. Love it. Even Pong.
You better include that.
No, man, I love it. PTK, I'm glad for you and happy for you that the channel continues to grow, that you continue.
Thank you, brother.
It's so crazy that you've been doing this for so long. Like when I saw that you were like celebrating 300, I'm like, what? Sheesh, this man is not new to this.
Yeah, no.
He's a veteran.
Yeah.
So no, seeing you actually get out there in LA and everything like that, and shine with, you could just tell you were having the time of your life, man. I felt extreme FOMO, and I almost wanted to take a road trip to LA right then and there. I was like, man, I needed to be out there. But I'm just happy for you guys that you all had the chance to experience that. And in general, like I said, just being here with you all is always fun. Retro, you already know, brother, it's all love. Still gonna be on
I'm
Do
still
Not
gonna
Disturb.
give you shit.
I'm still gonna
Yeah, exactly.
I'm still putting myself on Do Not Disturb though. But no, folks, thank you all in the chat too for coming through and showing us love. And of course, you can find me on Twitter, Infinite Umbra, or Umbra Infinite. You'll find me either way. On Tuesdays with this gentleman Retri here at 12 Eastern. My show, The Fix, on Thursdays at 8 o'clock Eastern, and on Fridays, Xbox Infinite. I'm sounding like Pong now with all these shows I'm naming. Xbox Infinite podcast at 8 o'clock Friday Eastern. So 8 o'clock Eastern Friday, should I say. And thank you all for having me again. Always a pleasure. Anytime.
Awesome, man. And go follow Umbra too. All the information down in the description. You guys know what to do. Go show them some love and support. Shout out to you, Umbra. All the greatest support to everything you got going on The Fix and all the other shows you on, brother. Always glad to have you here, man. So let's throw this over to my two right-hand man, the guys that make this show work, make me look good every week. We'll start with Mr. Pong Harvey. So shout out to you, bro. Another great week in the books, man. We back this week. It felt good. We back at the house, you know what I mean, in a familiar dig. So I'm glad to have you here every week, brother. I couldn't wait to talk to you, man. It was so hard all week, bro. I couldn't wait to talk to you.
I'm sure, man. I was waiting to. Again, the electricity in the air is real, folks. This is what happens when the hype train starts to roll yet again. We've missed this for a while since ABK pretty much started, and they kind of threw out the anchor and slowed everything down, but it's back again. Business as usual for Xbox, and they had a lot to show us, and they did it in spades, plus all the other gaming news that we did get. Even if the shows didn't hit, there was something out of there to cheer for and something to say, hey, I'm interested in that. And I talk about that constantly. But brothers, Retri, obviously Umbra, great to have you here on this type of week to talk about it, to discuss everything going on. Great conversation about the entire Xbox showcase and Starfield. Just amazing to hear you guys' thoughts. Again, I've been watching everybody's reactions because I love hearing people ooh and ah and talk about this.
I've watched like
I
10
do.
of them
Right.
things, man. It's crazy.
Yes, I know it is. I even watched Angry Joe, and I never watched that.
I watched
care
this
less.
too.
I could care less.
This too,
So, it's just been a great week, and what a awesome way to end again, as always. But this is the best time of the year. This really, it gets the excitement up even more. We all have passion. We all have love for this industry. This is why we do this, but it's extra. It's extra during E3 time, and this did not disappoint. So thank you guys for being here. PTK, Fuzzy, you know it. All love and respect. I'm so glad that you got to go down there, PTK. Again, what an experience for you. So happy for you, man, to get to do that and to meet everybody. Man, I truly had to live vicariously through you. It is something I want to eventually do, but man, it was awesome to see. So great to have you back. Glad the travels were safe for you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Chat, all of you coming back on a Saturday after we had a Saturday off. Big week. You guys showed up talking all the good talk in the chat as you always do. Nothing but love and respect for you guys and the support that you give all of our channels and so much more. You guys are why this community exists as well. So thank you for being here tonight. Pong Soul Xbox, Pong Soul Twitter, you guys know that. Next week, I always shout out Xbox Factor Podcast, even though I'm not there anymore. Listen, my heart's still there. I love Boom. Boom does so much for this community. So Double Barrel Gaming is the channel. Mr. Boomstick is the man. All good things green every Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Be there. And then, of course, Thursday night, it's PM in the PM. Pong and Mav in the PM, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time. If you have not had enough Starfield talk, go watch this past Thursday show. We had Skullsy on for 2 hours. Skullsy was gracious enough to give us time. If you don't know who Skullsy is, go check out his channel, The man has been following Bethesda for longer than most people have been existing on YouTube. The man knows all the stuff you need about Bethesda and their games. He's the one who was one of the first to find the Starfield name. He's the first to find Spy Team, which we still have not heard about. Scalzi is a genuine dude who's awesome. He is the game developer himself. Come check out that conversation we had with him, because it was Starfield talk, all of us blowing our minds all over again, just thinking about possibilities. So PM in the PM every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time. Xbox Ultimate back on Fun Speculations channel, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time every Friday night, where we go left, we go up, we go down, sideways, all around. We laugh, but we talk a lot of gaming, and we had good conversations last night with Calorie, great member of the community. He showed up and was on panel. And of course, Chris Jones, C-Unit from lordsofgaming.net also joined us last night. So that was fantastic. And then Saturday mornings, it's Living Split Screen, my brother from another, Steel, Rain, and I, 3+ hours. Buckle up every Saturday. Bring a friend, tell a friend. Mission 1K in full effect. We are now over 880. We are closing in on it. So please join us every Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, where we take you from your morning to your early afternoon, because we usually go 4 hours, and we did today, with nothing but great talk. So anyways, it's the golden age of gaming, people. Again, time and time again, I'm going to force feed this to you until you all start believing it, although a lot of people are now. Play what you love what you play. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you all real soon.
Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you, Pong. Easiest way to go follow Pong, just go follow him on Twitter. You'll be able to find him everywhere there. But appreciate you, the battery of the Shop podcast here, man. And last but not least, the boy, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, man. Great week back, brother. Glad to see you on cam. We breaking new ground here at the podcast, but lots of energy coming off that showcase, man. But let everybody know where they can find you, Fuzz.
Oh, man, this was an awesome show. Awesome guests. Always fun having Retri and Umbra on here. And always love doing this with you guys as far as talking games and just reflecting on that awesome showcase that we just had. So, and man, it was so awesome seeing you have some fun out there at the showcase, man. Definitely, we got to make a plan for next year. All of us got to meet up there if we can. One way or somehow, we're all going to do it for 2024. But, man, for those that want to hear my endless rambles or rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on the Xbox Lunch Break Special on Double Barrel Gaming on 12 noon on Mondays. And then later that evening, FSP on Fun Speculations channel at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then right back here on Saturday for the Shop Podcast at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Look forward to seeing you guys there.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Shout out to you, Fuzz, every single week here, man. Thank you for being here. And go follow Fuzz below as well, too. All of our information down in the description below, man. And last but not least, your boy PTK Blam, the host here at the shop. Follow me. All of the information down in the description. Xbox if you want to play some Diablo or other games. Hit me up on Twitter as well if you ever want to be a guest or maybe have an idea for the show or whatever the case may be, man. So love you guys so much. Appreciate the support and the continued growth here on the channel. You guys are amazing. Same time, same place next week. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a good weekend. Be safe. Peace out, everybody.
Later.